Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. I have a very special guest returning to the show this time because we are going to talk previews. And I'd like to welcome back to the show George Hanna of the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Hey, George.
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me back.
Well, I'm glad you wanted to come back so we can talk about the October previews. So this is actually I have previews in my hot little hands here. Usually when I do these episodes, I don't have previews yet because it hasn't arrived from DCB service, and so I often just go to the advanced solicitations that are online and I talk about that stuff. But this time, I got it here, and I know you have your copy, George.
Oh, I do.
So we can actually talk about the things that are in the catalog. And even better, George. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a little surprise I talked about with you. Hopefully we can hear this. There we go. So it's of course it being October, it's the advance or it's the solicitations for material that will be coming out in December and beyond. So it's the Christmas catalog.
That's right. And you know something, Eric, don't forget, in just 2 weeks, the Hallmark Channel is going to start all Christmas movies all the time.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah, so be ready for that.
Well, speaking of that, uh,
They're
my
not a sponsor, are they?
no. My wife, however, who is a huge Christmas fan, drives me crazy, but I love her to death. She's already listening to Christmas music right now.
Really? I mean,
Yes,
I'll admit I have some on my iPod in my shuffle, but they're not my go-to quite yet.
I know. I kind of like to wait until we actually get in, past Thanksgiving, maybe some snow on the ground.
Hmm.
But not my wife. She as soon as the weather starts turning cold, the leaves start turning brown and orange and red, all those wonderful fall colors. She's ready for Christmas.
You know, rocking around the Christmas tree just doesn't have the same effect when you walk by a house that has a skeleton, a witch, and some grotesque spider on the lawn.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it too. But like I said, I love my wife. God bless her. So she if she wants to enjoy Christmas now, she is free to do so as long as I'm not in the vehicle with her when she's listening to stuff.
But that ugly Christmas sweater you have on right now, how did she get you to wear that?
Whoa,
No, no,
dude,
that's a joke. It's a joke. I
dude.
like
This
your sweatshirt.
I know this is my University of Idaho Vandal sweatshirt.
I'm joking around. I'm assuming people can't see you, but maybe they can. So I am not in any way, shape, or form defamating the great University of Ohio, the state of Idaho, the state of Idaho. I am not.
And since we're talking about what we're wearing, George, so George and I are talking over Skype, but we're doing it with the video so we can see each other, which is really
Yes.
cool. And George actually has a Crisis on Infinite Earths T-shirt that I think you and I both saw on Facebook.
No, no, it's your fault. I mean, you were the one who brought it to my attention.
Okay.
And I said I had to have one, and I used the discount code of what was that? I don't even remember the site, but there was a discount code, and I just figured I had to get it. And here I am wearing it, and I'm the only one who bought it, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like I said right before we started recording, I'm gonna get one now. Now that I see how good it looks on you, I'm gonna have to get one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Even my wife liked it, and she's not really a comic book fan, so
Oh,
she liked it.
awesome! That's really
Yeah.
cool. So George and I haven't done this for well, I guess it's only been about 3 months, George, where we did our last look at solicitations. And that was on episode 99
Mm.
that we did that, and now this will be episode 106 when it gets released. And I think that was the last time you were on the show. Yeah. That was the last time you were on the show, George.
Oh, okay, great.
So
It seems like it was longer, but I guess life happens. So much
yeah,
life happens in between
yeah,
that you think it's a longer period of time.
yeah.
Well, I think all that means, Eric, is you have to release more episodes in a closer together.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I try, but
Well, you did have a marathon last time, and if I may say so, I heard that epic mammoth episode 105. I still have about 20 minutes left to listen to, but it was about the Legion of Superheroes, and you and Peter Rios discussing the Legion It was a great episode, and I can't wait to finish it.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. The Legion is one of my very favorite things to talk about. And I know that Peter is a huge Legion fan, so it was just really cool to get together with someone and talk about stuff. And George, you don't know this, but this is an excellent segue into something I wanted to do before we got into previews, real quick.
Okay,
Since you're talking about episode 105, where Peter and I talked about the Legion, I actually got some feedback about that episode, and I'll share it with you and the rest of the listeners here.
great.
This is from Mark, who listened to the show, and this is his email to me. He said, "Very enjoyable, in quotes, epic conversation between you and Peter, me and Peter, regarding everyone's favorite super future teens. Especially loved hearing about our favorite characters. His which or his one of his favorite is Brainiac 5, which is also mine. But he specified the reboot version of Brainiac 5. He said the nastier the better. And I'm not all that familiar, I have to be honest, with the reboot Brainiac 5, so I'm looking forward to reading that because I think I have all, if not just most of those issues. And our favorite storylines, he said. I also liked and agree with mine and Peter's stance that the next iteration of the Legion should really be something different and should take advantage of the fact that it takes place 1,000 years from now. And he did say that both Peter and I seem to have a big blind spot regarding the reboot years, and he encouraged us to visit or revisit this era of the Legion. So I just thought that was really cool that I got some great feedback. And Mark does his own podcast. Let's see here, of which he one part of his, it's like I do the gutters sometimes in the feed, so it's a little sideshow. Well, he does groups of shows, and one of which is called the Reboot Review. So that's his look at that particular era of the Legion. And I'm gonna yes. So if people go to I'm the Gun, so it's IMTHEGUN, I'm the Gun.blogspot.com, then people can find out about Mark's podcast.
Okay.
So thank you, Mark. Okay, so that was great. You walked right into my trap, George. So I appreciate that.
No, that's great. In fact, to piggyback kind of on what Mark said, I agree with you guys too that if the Legion is going to come back, it should be something different, almost the way you guys alluded to Star Trek and Star Trek: The Next Generation. Because, I mean, could the Legion as it was really survive in the way storytelling is done now? I don't really think so. The way things go for trade paperbacks and stuff like that, they really do have to change, I guess, with the times. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what DC does with that property. And I know we're gonna have to wait a little bit while longer. In fact, just today, as we record this, I read an interview with Dan DiDio. I think it was on Newsarama, and he was asked specifically about the JSA, the Legion. When are those things coming back? And it won't be in I think they're referring to it as Wave 2 or whatever it is that they're calling the next group of books that are coming out. Under the DC Rebirth banner. So that's not part of it. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
Even longer, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get something really cool out of it.
Yeah, and I know there are a lot of people clamoring for it. It's not just you and Peter and Mark. It's a lot of people out there. One more thing before we get into previews. I just want to go back to episode 105 for one moment and agree with you and Peter that I think we all did create our own little universes.
Yeah.
When we were kids and we were reading comic books, I was one of them. I heard that you guys were in the same camp, so I don't think it's just the three of us. I think we're more the majority than the minority.
That's really cool that you did that.
Yeah, so I think we all did.
I know.
I don't see how we couldn't.
I think maybe I should get you and Peter and any other person that wants to get together and talk about our own superhero universes that we created. Just kind of get together and chat about those.
That it was.
Yeah.
Now, that might require some sort of inebriation.
That might help a little bit, yeah.
It might, just to be able to loosen the lips on our secret universes.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing, George, before we get into previews.
Yes.
I won't put it off anymore. I was negligent. I should have asked you to do this well before now. But if you don't mind, remind the fine folks out there where they can find out more about you and your podcast and how to listen to it and all that good stuff.
Thanks. We can be found at georgeandtony.com. We are part of a network called the Realm Network. So georgeandtony.com takes you to our page on the Realm Network site. We don't have a site like Eric does where you can provide feedback uh, through the website, and we don't have a spot where we put posts or anything like that. Where we do that is on social media. We do that on our Facebook page at George and Tony Entertainment, and every once in a while I'm known to tweet 140 or less characters at George and Tony. So we're on Facebook and we're on Twitter, and we'd appreciate a like, a follow, or any comments that you have for any of the crazy stuff we decide to put out there.
And George, I also know that you've made a call out to your listeners to get some more iTunes reviews, right?
Yes, I will admit that I am just as negligent on some of the shows that I listen to, where I intend to leave feedback and I always forget. Although Eric, you have feedback from me, I will tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't forget you. So don't be like me. Don't be a hypocrite. I take hypocrisy pills. I have a very high dosage. But we are looking for those reviews, those positive reviews. Eric, maybe you know more about those algorithms out there that
Oh, I wish.
somehow with all those reviews, people get to find us a little easier. So we would appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I don't want you to just do it without listening. Listen and be honest, and come on and join the party as we change the world one podcast at a time.
That's right. And I also wanted to mention that too because I thought it was funny as I was listening to your latest episodes. Where you made that call out there, and I was thinking I haven't done that in a while, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to go ahead and ask my fine listeners if they wouldn't mind also doing the same thing for my show, but also of course do it for George and Tony's show.
Do it for both of us because we ain't too proud to beg. If you're going to, after you cast your ballot at the beginning of November, why don't you go and cast your ballot for your favorite podcasts, Long Box Review, and your new favorite podcast, the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Wow. But only after you vote. You really have to vote. Yeah. And then you could do it on iTunes.
Way to go, George. That was great.
Well, we care. Longbox Review and the George and Entertainment Show cares. The more you know, Eric. The more you know.
The more we know. All right.
Yes.
Well, speaking of the more we know, excellent segue again.
All right. Thanks for having me on the show. See you, folks. Bye-bye.
Let's dive right into October's preview catalog.
Yes.
George, I was just planning on going from the beginning of the book, and about the middle-ish we'll hit Marvel and then go on to the independent section if you don't mind.
Fantastic.
We'll just kind of go in that order.
Marvel one out of my way, and we are ready to go.
All right. So first up is the Dark Horse section, and so George, is there anything that you want to start off with?
Well, the first thing I would start off with is on page 55. Do you have anything prior to 55 that caught your attention?
I do. I have a couple things.
So go right ahead.
Okay, so page 79. Like I said, this is October previews for stuff coming out in December. Maybe you can get these things for yourself or loved ones for the holiday season. But I noticed this because I know some people out there are really big Dragon Age fans. And, the adult coloring book craze just seems to be getting bigger and bigger, George. And so I noticed right off that there's this Dragon Age adult coloring book from Dark Horse. So $15 for 96 pages of coloring goodness, I suppose. It's not something
Have you ever done them?
No, I actually have. I bought somewhere on my bookshelf over there. I actually bought the DC coloring book.
Nice.
From a few months ago that was in previews. But I haven't actually done any coloring yet. So we'll see.
You get pretty bad winters over there, don't you?
Not well. We used to.
Oh, not lately?
Not so much. Yeah. The things are kind of warming up in general, you hear this in the news. So we are not getting enough or not getting a lot of snow like we used to get. I mean, we would get a ton of snow every winter, and now not so much.
I'm thinking that's a good blizzard activity, though.
Well, yeah, I figured that's where you're going with that. But yeah, that would be definitely.
Yeah, I bought a few myself, and they're just sitting there, just waiting for me to tackle them.
Do you use what do you use to color? The colored pencils or
Well,
markers
I
or
did buy. I bought colored. I haven't done it yet, but I have bought colored pencils. They're ready to go, nice and sharp. I did buy a few thin tip markers uh, because I've been taking some drink and draw classes
mm.
at my local comic book shop, and when we do the coloring, we use both colored pencil and marker.
Oh, nice.
And I'm learning a few techniques, relearning a few things. So when I tackle these coloring books, I'm hoping to use all those techniques.
Mm, good. Cool. That's really cool. I'm very jealous about that actually, George. I wish I
What, the
had
drink
something.
and draw?
Yeah, I wish I had something
Uh,
like that in my area.
as of this recording, we are going to be painting pumpkins tomorrow.
Ah.
I don't know. He said there might be a superhero theme, but I'm not sure.
Mm. Well, there's definitely plenty of pumpkin themed villains in comics that you could possibly draw.
Yeah. He said it's going to be it'll be a surprise for the class.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. There one more thing before we get to your page. Page 52 in previews. How to Train Your Dragon: The Serpent's Heir trade paperback for fans of that movie series.
Yes.
There's a new comic book about it, and there's a couple preview pages in here, and it's really well done in comparison to the movies. So in terms of the art, so it looks just like the characters that you're familiar with if you've seen those movies. Maybe a perfect gift for a young reader in your family, or like I said, even yourself.
That's what I was thinking when I saw it. Yeah, the artwork looks great.
So what you said, you had something on page 55. I think I have this on my list as well, George.
Oh, Angel Catbird, Volume 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, to Castle Catula. Have you picked up Volume 1?
I did not. So
Okay.
this is the new. Well, okay. First of all, this I was really surprised to see this in this issue of previews because wasn't the first volume just basically solicited a month or two? It seems like a month or two ago.
It just came out.
It just came out right. No, what, the
Right.
last week or
So,
two?
yes, in fact, all I have read of it so far is the foreword by Margaret Atwood.
Yeah.
I haven't dug into it yet, and I intend to. And I was going to wait to see how it is, but I have no doubt that I'm going to love it enough that I'm going to want this volume 2.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, like I said, but I'm hoping that my anticipation will be met with positive results, and I have no doubt that they will. I mean, look at the art by Johnny Christmas on this page here.
So is Johnny Christmas the artist for the first volume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, see that just amazes me. I wonder how far in advance they were working on these set of books, and so this is the second volume. Is there going to be more coming out within just a few months of each other? I was just really surprised to see the second volume so soon. I would expect maybe one a year, I
Right.
guess.
I'm on the same page as you because that does seem to be the model for a lot of these types of books.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to reading volume 1, and this one looks like it's not going to disappoint either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that was on your list too.
On the next page, we'll save the galaxy for food. This is a trade by Yahtzee Croshaw, which, by the way, Yahtzee as a first name, that's just awesome.
I mean, right there, either that person needs to be a writer or a TV star or a male dancer. I'm not sure.
Or a comic book writer,
Yes, or a comic book writer.
and E.M. Gist, I believe. But this is kind of a what do they refer to this as? Oh, a satirical sci-fi adventure. I just kind of well, the preview cover, I guess, on here with the writer's name boldly emblazoned in big letters on there just kind of caught my attention. And but it seems like it's like a cross between oh gosh, what was I thinking of earlier? Like a Han Solo type character crossed with Galaxy Quest
Yeah, I could see that.
in a
Yes.
way, sort of in a way. But yeah,
I love it when they put out these types of books
yeah, especially
that
science
aren't.
fiction.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the 6 issue miniseries and then they collect it in a trade. But to jump right into something like this, I, I don't know. I like that. You just get the full story all at once
Hmm.
in a situation like this. So yeah, that caught my attention too.
George, are you reading Black Hammer?
I am, and I'm loving it.
Okay, good, because yeah, issue number 6 is solicited, but
Yes.
I'm reading this too, and I'm anxious to talk about it because it's a really interesting premise, and I really enjoy it. Which is kind of odd. I will admit to everyone and you that Jeff Lemire is not one of my favorite writers,
Mhm.
but I'm loving this book. So
The elevator pitch that they put in the previews wherever number one was solicited 5 or 6 months ago just caught me in the couple of sentences that they put in this solicit.
mhm.
And so far it hasn't disappointed, and I don't see that it will. But the characters are spot on. The storytelling is enticing, and I like the art. Normally, this type of art may not necessarily grab me, but it's just hitting on all chords right now for me.
Yeah, the art actually reminds me. Maybe this is on purpose. I'm sure it is, but it reminds me a lot of the kind of like the old, I want to say golden age ish type sci-fi.
You mean like the
Um,
EC books, or?
yeah, maybe a little bit EC books, but
Hmm.
I know, I didn't read a lot of EC stuff, if at
Hmm.
all. I'm thinking of like the old science fiction novel covers.
Oh, I see what just. Yes, I can see that. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it's working on all levels for me, and I'm anxious to see what.
Did
Uh,
it surprise you that it was working so well for you when you gave it the chance that you gave it when you bought number one?
Probably, I would agree with that. I was already predisposed to it because it's riffing off of Silver Age Justice League,
Right. Hmm.
with the added twist that they have for this book.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was already predisposed to it, but like I said, Jeff Lemire, not my favorite writer. The art was I wasn't sure about the art, but something about it appealed to me. But then you put it all together and read that first issue, and then like I said, I've been reading the other issues as they've come out, and I'm just loving it. The last issue I read really focused on Barbalian
Hmm.
and his past,
Yeah.
and that was just awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. It was good.
I hope this has a long run. I mean, I know it might get a little tired that the mystery drags too much, but these characters, I'd like to see them around for a while.
Well, yeah, that's really what's keeping me engaged is these characters and their relationships. The
Yes.
plot, with them, why they're there and how they're there and why they're stuck there. Yeah, that's interesting, but it's not as interesting to me
Yeah.
as the character interaction. So on 59, George, there's I only mention this because I met this creator when I was in at the Rose City Comic Con just a few months ago. This is
I must
Trek.
say, you and your family know how to do a con. I listen to your shows about your con experiences and who were the folks that you spoke to at the last convention you went to that you had I forgot what episode, maybe 104 or
Mhm.
103, you had the tape recorder going. Who were those guys?
That was Damien and Matt
Uh-huh.
that I've talked to on previous episodes.
Just to have guys like that to speak to just really just get together that's what a convention's all about. To get together with a bunch of guys and talk this stuff.
Yeah,
And
it was awesome.
yeah, that's great that you guys have that.
But like I said, I met this creator there at Rose City. This is Ron Randall's Trekker Rites of Passage. So like I said, I talked to him about Trekker, and I bought the first trade that he put out through Dark Horse. And he told me then that that this other trade, this second trade here, would be coming out soon. So now I need to really read that first trade soon so I can decide if I want to continue on with it. But I mean, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. And
Just the little bit of art that we see here.
any idea how many more of these already exist, though?
Well, there's also offered here, also available. It says is the Trekker Omnibus,
Mm.
And he said that that's kind of the if you want pretty much everything, if not everything, then get the omnibus, and then you got the history of this concept, these characters and whatnot, and then you read the newer trades because that's the continuation of the story.
Oh,
But
okay.
he did say you didn't need to read the omnibus, but it would provide more history, more context.
Mm. On page 60, I just have to say I'm not necessarily a person who purchases classics illustrated or anything like that, but the fact that there is a graphic novel adaptation of Herman Melville's Moby Dick intrigues me. Now, I do have to admit, for as many items as I'm going to spotlight with you on the show today, I wish I could tell you that my purse strings were nice and loose, and everything that has piqued my curiosity is going to be purchased. The only thing I can say is, friends and family who are listening to this episode, let's not forget that my birthday is also in December, along with Christmas. So please take notes on everything that I mention here. Shameless plug, Eric. Shameless
Wait, wait,
plug.
wait, George. So your birthday's in December too?
It is, yes.
What time of the month?
The 24th.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a Christmas Eve baby. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, friends, family, if you're feeling guilty that I have the Christmas birthday, the Herman Melville's Moby Dick graphic novel might be nice.
Yeah, yeah. So George, I had this
When is yours? At the beginning of the month
no,
or
it's
or
actually
what?
4 days after Christmas.
Oh, okay. See, so you're kind of in the same boat, although I don't really see it as a negative, but a lot of people always ask the same question, I would
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
How do you handle having your birthday around the holidays? And
Exactly.
I don't, as many comics and graphic novels I have behind me here and statues, I'm really not the most materialistic guy in the world.
Well, it's a good thing you can't see the bookshelves off to my left, George. I'm in the same boat. Um,
Oh,
okay, so Moby Dick. I also had that on my list, George.
did you
Um,
really?
I did, but I still won't read it. I still won't. I just I appreciate the fact that somebody did this book. Who in fact who is this? Christophe. Oh boy, Chaboutet.
I'll take it. Yes, ding
Yeah.
ding ding. I'll take it.
So I really appreciate that Christoph did this book, but I have no interest. I'm speaking as a lapsed English major.
Hmm.
I have no interest in reading Moby Dick.
May I make a confession here that I don't think I've ever confessed on my own show?
Mm.
When I went on my honeymoon, I brought Moby Dick with me. I didn't bring my wife. I just brought Moby Dick. No, no, just kidding. I brought the book Moby Dick, figuring on the cruise as we're sitting in the sun, you bring a book. Most people bring light reading. I brought Moby Dick.
Well, and that's funny. You're on a cruise, so
I know, right?
I'm glad you didn't encounter any
There's a little,
vengeful whales.
there's a little irony out there, isn't there? Well, that's all I had for Dark Horse.
Okay.
How about you?
I got a couple more things. Another question for you. In fact, you're going to hear me ask this a lot, George. Are you reading
Please.
Lady Killer? Lady Killer 2?
I am not reading Lady Killer 2, and the
Uh,
reason for that is, again, the purse strings. I
uh,
read Lady Killer 1,
okay.
and I think this is one of those, I hate to use the term, but everybody seems to use it in our hobby. I might trade weight on this
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's if you read the first one, you're going to love the second one.
Mm.
Uh, well, I assume if you loved the first one, but
Oh, I did. I did.
okay. So yeah, I was just curious that this is the final issue is solicited here.
Hmm.
So I imagine you'll get the trade the next
Yeah.
month or very soon anyway.
Yeah. Did you read volume 1 as it came out, or did you read it in a trade paperback format?
I did end up getting the trade, but again, it was like kind of like you with this one. I was spending too much money that month, but I really wanted to get it because the concept really seemed really cool, and I am in love with Joelle Jones.
Yes. Oh.
She's on another series that I'm going to mention here in the DC part of the book that I am struggling with, and I'll explain that later. But
Okay.
but yeah, I'm loving this book. So
It's is there content in these single issues that wouldn't be in the trade, you think? I mean, are there essays and things of that nature that sometimes they throw into the singles?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
I
Good.
could be
Because I
wrong
would have
about
hate to
that.
have I would have hate to have missed out on that, especially for this book because I did enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy the extra content that does appear in some
Hmm.
books where it will only be in the issues and not in a collection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this one you have to make some decisions. Comics ain't cheap, as we all know, right,
Oh,
folks?
well, yeah. Speaking of that, here in just a
Hmm.
minute, I'm gonna
Oh gosh.
go off on some rants, George.
Oh boy,
So
here we go.
be prepared for that.
I'm ready. Listen, you're preaching to the choir, so you got the right guy on the show this week.
All right, so let's move on to DC, shall we?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Let
Okay,
me
first
turn the
up, if you don't
pages.
mind,
Talk about Joel Jones, though, right there on the
yeah, well, yeah, the
right on the front, right?
front there. That's exactly. That just looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Okay, so was it page 78? So this is the
It's
first DC Rebirth crossover series event or whatever you want to call it. Justice League versus the Suicide Squad. The first two issues are solicited. This is a 6-issue event and it's weekly.
yeah, that's well, they do all have all that twice a month shipping, so
Yeah,
I guess this was bound to happen.
yeah. I was actually looking forward to this, George, but then, like I said about prices, so I saw the price of this. It's $5,
Uh,
4.99 for these issues. Now, granted, they're 40 pages, but still,
I know.
it's just $5 for a comic. So that's that's $30 for this series. I don't know, George. I might wait on the trade for this one too.
And doesn't that stink? I really hate. There's so much good. We're in that renaissance. People say it all the time. We're in that renaissance where there's so much great stuff out there, but I mean, I don't know how people can have such large pull lists at their local comic book shop.
Mm-mm.
I just don't see it. I can't do it anymore,
Yeah.
especially since the darn plumber cashed the check that I wrote him the other day. I told him, I said, please wait, please honor the date on that check. October 10th, 2022. Please honor the date. He did not honor that date, and neither
Uh,
did the bank, apparently.
yeah. So
So I
so
really have to watch the purse strings.
everyone should go listen to George and Tony's episodes 140 and 141, George, where you talked
Yes.
about your woes about
My
the
plumbing
plumbing.
woes, where
Yeah.
I had to hawk my soundboard. And in
But you're not.
fact, if you see some guys with moving boxes behind me as the show's going on, that's because I had to hock a few microphones, which
Mm,
is why I'm holding this microphone because the ones on the stands behind me, the condenser mics, they're a little more expensive. So, they might get repoed during the show.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's the first rant. We'll get to another one later.
Let me ask you this before we move on. Did we have
Okay.
this conversation about events when we were together the last time?
I see. I vaguely recall some discussion, but I don't remember the
Oh,
details.
okay. Well, you just said that you were highly anticipating this particular crossover
Hmm.
right here. So are you in general a fan of the events of the big two companies?
Uh, yes and no.
Hmm.
I would pretty much kind of celebrate the events,
Uh-huh.
and I would buy them all essentially until just recently.
I see.
And so I skipped the last couple Marvel events,
Hmm.
and DC hasn't been doing a whole lot of events lately, which is probably a good thing. Um, and even despite the fact that who's doing it, Jason Fabok is doing the art for this new event book. Um, yeah, I don't know. I like the concept of the Justice League going against the Suicide Squad. It seems like a
Yeah.
natural fit for the DC
Right.
universe for these two groups to go at each other. So I really like that idea. So I want to read it, but like I said, the price is just I don't know.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't a weekly book, I would probably get it.
Right.
As it came out. But yeah,
Yeah. The extra $5 a week isn't the same thing as the extra $5 a month.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Mhm.
even with the I don't know. I'll have to look to see what discount DCB service
Oh,
provides.
yes. Hmm.
That will greatly influence my buying choices here. But just like you said earlier, I've got, my notes for previews is 4 pages long to talk over. and and I know I won't be able to afford all that stuff. So,
Right, you
obviously,
haven't even done the math yet.
no, exactly. Exactly. Uh, However, there is a book here, George, on the next couple pages that I will be buying, even though, gosh, it's $10, and that's the DC Rebirth Holiday Special because
Yes.
I love holiday themed comic books.
Yes, that was going to be one of my questions to you. I share that enthusiasm. I love holiday themed comics also.
Yeah.
Some of those Christmas themed, winter holiday themed comics just I remember them very fondly in the covers, especially back in the Silver Age.
Hmm.
Just oh man, they just bring back good memories just thinking about them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if the image here in previews is going to be the cover image for this book. I kind of doubt it based on what they're showing, but that's just
Yeah.
kind of cool, with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman's logos kind of hanging down like Christmas decorations
Yeah.
with the trees in the background, the snow. It's just cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna plunk down the $10 for that one. Do you remember the old Treasury editions,
Mm.
the large
Oh yeah.
editions that used to be around the holidays? I always think of a there was a DC one that I remember where Superman is carrying the sleigh, Santa's sleigh, in the air with a bunch of superheroes in there. I think it was the Jack Kirby version of Sandman and Sandy. I forget who else was in there. And then there's the Marvel holiday grab bag where it's the Hulk, I think, pulling, or maybe it was the Thing. No, I think it was the Hulk pulling a sleigh. It
Mm.
just, those bring back great memories. And
Yeah.
I hope maybe some kids can cherish these as much as we cherished those back when we were kids.
Yeah. I'm just tickled that they're bringing those things back. So
Yeah.
hopefully Marvel will follow suit as well. And well, not just Marvel. Any of the comic book companies out there that want to do holiday stuff, I'll probably pick it
Yep.
up. So,
Yeah.
there you go, guys. Take my money, please.
Right. That's the way into our wallets.
That's right.
Let's see. All right. I don't have any more for DC until we get into the 90s. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
let you carry on.
All right. Uh,
Yeah.
here's another question for you, George. Are you reading All Star Batman?
I am not. And as you can tell, while I've discussed whittling things down because of the purse strings and still marking things off that spark my interest, I have forced myself to really have tunnel vision, even for the big two. And I've been out of the Bat universe, even in the New 52 that was so celebrated.
Mm.
I didn't read any of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
the only one I did read, the only storyline I did read was the We Are Robin, the Robin War.
Yeah.
I read the Robin War, and of course I was reading Grayson on a regular basis,
Right.
but I did read the Robin War, and those are probably the only issues of Batman and Detective and related New 52 Bat books that I have.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I only want to mention that besides wanting to know if you were reading it, but this issue number 5 is the end of the first arc for that series, and I'll be honest, I'm probably going to drop off that on that book. It's a $5 book.
Oh,
Uh,
is it five? Oh, wow, yeah.
well, at
Have
least
you
this.
enjoyed the story so far, at least?
Well, that's why I'm dropping it. It's okay.
Uh-huh.
It's
Okay.
not
Yeah.
it's not wowing me. So it's really funny. You mentioned the New 52 stuff with Batman. I was the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman series was really really good. Grayson was excellent. You're talking
Absolutely.
about the Bat family.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people really like the Burnside Batgirl stuff,
Yes.
and so I read a lot of Batman books, New 52 Batman books, but I have to admit Superman is what's exciting me about DC Rebirth in terms of the
Mm.
characters.
I've heard
So,
such great things about the Superman books.
which pleases me to no end, George,
Hmm.
because Superman's one of my favorite characters, and my good friend Travis, he's one of those guys who has often admitted that Superman's not his cup of tea, and
Uh-huh.
he's even loving. If I can speak for him,
Right.
he's even loving the Superman books, and so that just I just again that I'm gonna probably overuse this word, but it tickles me to no end that people are really enjoying Superman as much as they are. Batman, not so
From what
much for
I
me.
understand, it just seemed difficult for people to really grasp onto Superman. By people, I mean writers. I don't mean the audience. And tell a good Superman story for a very long period of time. And these stories do seem to be resonating with the fans. Now, again, I'm going to admit, while I did buy all the Rebirth issues and the number ones and the renumbering of Detective and Action, I I did enjoy the Superman books, but in my culling, as you had on your show a few episodes ago, I did have to make a decision. Okay, what do I want to get involved in? What do I not want to get involved in? And I did have to uh, cut the Superman books. But
Well,
here I am missing out on some great stories.
so I'm sure we'll talk about the collected editions, but with a twice monthly shipping, you don't have to
Uh-huh.
wait very long to get the trades and get
No,
caught
that's
up
true.
on those things. So maybe you can do that if
That's
you
right. Well, you
find
did talk
yourself
me into the
interested.
Crisis shirt that I'm wearing,
Yeah,
so you might be able to talk me into the Superman collected trade.
we'll talk, George. We'll talk.
Yeah, I know, I know.
All
Well,
right.
you don't have to talk to me. You have to talk to Connie and my benevolent overlord Bianca. That's who you got to talk to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would be glad to do that. I don't speak feline though, so
Okay.
so you said you had some things in the '90s.
Oh, yes.
Go
And
ahead.
again, the I will admit the only reason I even have this issue on my want page is because it is holiday themed, and that is the Flash on page 92. I know that there is a storyline that looks like it's concluding in the first issue that's shipping in the month, number 12,
Oh,
but it's number 13, Date Night, that has caught my attention, and I think I will at least pick that up.
oh yeah. See, I totally missed that, George. I Flash is not one of those comics that I read, and so I would have missed that. Yeah, it's holiday season in Central City, and Barry Allen goes on a date.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might have to pick that up too,
And of course, hilarity ensues.
as it will.
Yes. In the life of Barry Allen, we always know that the Flash's life just goes so swimmingly. Now, what about Detective? Are you reading Detective?
I was. That's one of the ones that
Okay.
I will drop after the Monster Men um,
Oh, yes, the Monster Men
event that's
storyline.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that started already, right?
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
got the first three chapters of that in my last shipment
Uh-huh.
from DCBS. So I'm looking
Haven't had a
forward to reading
chance
that.
to go through them yet.
Me, no, not yet.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I'll admit, Detective surprised me during when the first Rebirth issues came out.
Mhm.
That was the one that intrigued me the most between that one and the Batman book.
Mm.
And I thought it would have been the other way around. Again, I didn't continue with it, but if I were to continue with it, I think I would have gone more with Detective than with Batman. If I was based on that first issue that I read when the whole rebirth was beginning,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was something about it. And the same with the Superman books. I think I would have stuck with Superman proper rather than Action.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Is the Superman book the one that you're recommending over
That
Action?
definitely. But
Okay.
I'm enjoying action uh,
Okay.
almost as much.
I see. Okay. Okay.
But
Great.
it's Peter Tomasi and Mick Gray.
Yeah, I
Oh
know.
wait, no, sorry, Mick Gray's there, but Patrick Gleason. It's Tomasi and Gleason writing
Yes.
Superman, and they're just killing it on
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're swaying me. You're swaying me.
that. What else do you have in the page 90s?
That was it for the
Oh,
90s.
okay, so we were talking about Grayson just a second ago. So I just want to mention with Nightwing. This is on page 100.
Yes.
So Nightwing 10 and 11. So this is the start of a new storyline. Following the Night of the Monster Men stuff. Nightwing returns. And I put that in air quotes. Returns to Bloodhaven because I don't know if in this version, this rebirth part or New 52 version of Nightwing, whether or not he actually was in Bloodhaven like he was previous to that, previous
Oh.
to in the pre-Flashpoint universe. anyway, so they're taking him back to Bloodhaven. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Nightwing's one of my very favorite characters in DC Comics, but again, like a lot of the, I was so excited about DC Rebirth. I'm going off on a tangent now, but so excited
No.
about DC
Hey, it's your
Rebirth.
show. You can do whatever you want.
I'm just warning you. Uh,
Okay.
so excited about DC Rebirth when they announced it. I've never been so excited about something new about comics in forever when
Hmm.
they announced this. Now that I'm what it's we're up to like issue 8, so we're only about eight-ish issues into DC Rebirth, so about 4 months worth of books. Uh, I have to admit, I'm not all that enamored with a lot of what's coming out of DC Rebirth, and that's not to say that what they're putting out is crap. It's just I don't know. There's something about it. I haven't pinpointed it yet, and I need to process this more, George, and think about it and maybe talk about it on some future show because I'm really surprised at my reaction because I'm
Hmm.
dropping more and more DC books, and that's just weird to me.
If I'm obviously not a person to engage in conversation about that with because I'm not reading that many to begin with.
Mm.
So that feeling that you have, I can't have that feeling because I'm not reading that many. Do you recall the same thing happening to you though when the new 52 came out? Did you
No,
buy a bunch and then drop off, or how'd you handle that?
a little bit, but it was different. It was more about the quality of the work,
Mm,
and that because I don't think the quality is bad with the DC Rebirth stuff, but I think I'm just not whatever they're doing with their stories, their approaches, their takes on these characters and these situations. It's just not resonating as much with me for some reason, and I'm not sure why.
I see. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I'm wondering, it's the whole rebirth thing. It's I still find it a little weird that in that rebirth one shot, that 80-page giant that they had to start this whole thing,
Hmm.
there were a lot of things that were going on in there. And I do recall them saying, hey, if you want to follow the thread as to what rebirth is, read the Titans.
Yeah.
And I'm reading Titans. And there are some reveals in there and stuff, but I'm not quite sure those are reveals that have anything to do with what we saw in the rebirth book. And believe me, I'm enjoying the story, but I find it odd that there were all these little nuggets and there's no one title that carries that thread through.
Yes.
And I'm a little frustrated with that
Yes.
because now I'm going to have to wait for previews to tell me, hey, this book, hey, were you curious about what happened on page 52 of Rebirth #1? Well, this is the book to buy that covers that particular point.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure I like that
Mm.
because I'm waiting.
Hmm.
I'm waiting. I'm curious. And I forgot half the stuff. I'll have to reread it once they tell me that I should reread it because this is the book that explains that.
Yeah. 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 I agree with you on that for sure.
But I'm still going to get Titans #6 on page 106.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sticking with that one, even though I have the same criticism that you do with it.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what's going on.
and
Half the time I don't know what is going on.
and maybe
But
that's
I've
their
just
plan. Maybe they want us to be so curious about it that we'll just stick with everything.
I guess I don't know. I shouldn't feel that way after reading a comic. Maybe Moby Dick, but not not Rebirth.
Uh, George, did you see on page 109 they have these director's cuts editions? Do
Oh, let
you?
me. Yes, the director's cuts.
Yeah.
No, I
So
never picked any of those up. How about you?
uh, one, I picked up one, and it was a long time ago. It was. Oh gosh, I think I'm getting things confused. It might have been a Blackest Night director's cut, or it was one of the new.
Oh,
It was probably one of the New 52 director's cuts. Actually,
oh, okay.
may have been Justice League from the New 52. But so they have All Star Batman and Suicide Squad #1s as director cuts. I'm just curious if people really like these, want these, and they don't appeal to me too much.
Yeah, these have always I'm aware of them, but they've always been off my radar as far as getting on my must-have list. Going back to page 108, have you had any interest in the Wonder Woman stories? How they're alternating? One of the ones in the month is an origin story, and then the other one is in the present, and it kind of flip-flops. Have you gotten into that at all?
Well, I'm reading it.
Hmm.
I have to admit, it was Greg Rucka coming back to Wonder Woman. I thought that would be really, really excellent. And it's not
Hmm.
that his work is not excellent. It's just I don't necessarily like I guess I don't like the approach that every other issue is a different kind of story.
Mm.
It feels weird to complain about something like that, but yeah, it's okay. I we'll see how it goes. I actually more am more interested in the current storyline as opposed to the year one, and that may be because I read what was that wonderful Wonder Woman series by Ray DeLise and oh man, I'm blanking on. Shoot, I don't remember what it was, what the name of it was, George. But it was basically Wonder Woman's origin story that they did in I think 8 or 9 issue miniseries just recently.
Oh,
It was also a digital first, I believe, that they put
oh, one
out.
of those.
Anyway, so I read that. There's also Grant Morrison's
Hmm.
Earth One Wonder Woman, and I
Right.
just got in my shipment today or earlier this week. I got Jill Thompson's
Ju-
Wonder
I
Woman's. So it's like, I realize it's Wonder Woman's 75th anniversary, and that's really cool. But it's like
yeah.
all of these origin or really early stories featuring Wonder Woman. It's like, do I really need another one?
Apparently you do.
Yeah.
You just didn't know it.
Okay, so we already George, we already mentioned this earlier at the front of the DC stuff, but here is that Joelle Jones Supergirl being super. And so this is written by, what is it, Mariko Tamaki and art by Joelle Jones. So all I saw was Supergirl and Joelle Jones. I'm like, yes, please. Um, but again, like I said, it's a 4 issue series, prestige format, $5.99. So I really want
Look
to.
at that cover, though.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh,
So I really want to get this. So it'll depend on DCBS if I get the 4 individual issues or I wait. But
do you
I'm definitely getting it regardless.
are you enjoying the show?
Supergirl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I totally loved that first season, and while I haven't yet watched the new season because it started,
Hmm.
there's one show out as of this
Yes.
recording. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting for an opportunity to watch it with my granddaughters. Uh,
Did they get into it?
yeah, in fact, all of us, my wife, our granddaughters that live with us, we all watched last season
Yeah.
and enjoyed it. Um, Sometimes my wife not so much because she found it to be a little too cheesy.
Mm.
but
Okay.
I get that I do,
Right.
but oh man, what's the actress's name? Melissa
Oh, why am
Ben,
I'm blanking on it?
whatever the lead lead actor.
Oh my
The
God, this is horrible.
I know,
This
right?
is really horrible.
Um, I blame old age.
Yeah, me too.
But she's so delightful and so adorable, and she was acting, her her mouth off.
Yeah.
She just did a wonderful job at conveying this character and her struggles and everything. So I'm totally in, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the season.
I'm glad to hear your granddaughters enjoy it also because it does seem like it should be a family show.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's not dark. It's a fun show, and if you want to give your wife any sort of consolation, just remind her, okay, maybe cheesy, but it's no Electra Woman and Dinah Girl.
Oh my gosh. I used to love that.
That was a great show.
So if you've never heard of Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, go look it up.
Yes, go look that.
I'm sure there's some YouTube videos that people can watch. It's cheesy
The-
as hell, but it's so much fun.
I don't know if this is real, although I think there are some real stars in it, so it must have been real. But I mean, it's not somebody making a fake YouTube video. Nobody needs to know why I was looking at this stuff online, but I saw a look like almost like a backdoor. Well, that couldn't have been a backdoor pilot, but a pilot for Electro Woman and Dinah Girl, the next generation.
Oh, yes, I've heard of this.
Have you? So that is real, right? It's not somebody making some sort of.
I think
I think
so.
Marky Post was in it. It was Marky Post in it from Night Court. I think that's who was playing Electro Woman. You know something? It just seemed like crazy concept. I don't even know. It was raunchy. It was totally out of place, and I don't know where they thought that was going to fit into anybody's schedule. But the little clips that I saw were just remind your wife that that's not what Supergirl is. That's all I'm saying. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
All right. I don't have anything until a few pages later, George. So if you've got something after
Okay, well,
Supergirl.
I will say that I had enjoyed the Batman 66 books. I didn't
Mm,
catch them on online as a web comic as digital first as they were, but I did buy them when they were in a comic book format. And since the title has been canceled, they have been continuing the line by teaming up Batman with other properties. Uh, well, actually, even within the run of the Batman 66 title, there was the Batman and Green Hornet
mm-hmm.
little miniseries. They had Batman meets the Man from Uncle
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months ago, and now they have Batman 66 meet Steed and Mrs. Peel, the other Avengers, let's call them.
Yes.
There's the other white meat. There are the other Avengers, and this is them, Steed and Mrs. Peel, and number six, the final issue in the miniseries,
Mm.
comes out in December. It's a digital first, so people, if they're interested in it, they can read it online, I guess, earlier. But the comic comes out in December. Did you get into that book at all?
No, I kind of avoid the 66 stuff with one exception.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
Probably a smart thing to do.
well, I got there was a special they did. I can't even remember the name of it, but it was a one shot that they put out.
The
And I
Two Face
really,
one?
maybe,
Was it the Harlan Ellison
yes,
script that was never
yes,
used? Right.
yes, that
Mm-hmm.
one. Yeah, I did get that one. I actually quite enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I think maybe I need to go back and buy the trades of these Batman 66
Eh,
stuff.
they're just fun books, and actually, maybe even your granddaughters would like those also.
Mm,
That would be an all ages type of thing, I
hmm.
would think.
That's true.
They may not get some of the jokes because, again,
Yeah.
but they're more jokes because they're retro than that they're any sort of bad, bad innuendos or anything like that. It's just kitschy humor from the '60s.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
George, are you reading Future Quest? Speaking of
Oh yes, I
retro
am loving
stuff.
Future Quest,
Yeah.
loving it. The whole concept. They had me. You talk about opening your wallet. Holiday theme books, and if you do a Hanna Barbera property right, I'm in.
Yeah.
And Future Quest, they are doing right.
Yeah. It's
What about the Flintstones? Are you reading the Flintstones?
no, I the only book what do you what's a good way to refer to these, to the tie-in books, the cartoon books?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would just call them the Hanna Barbera properties that
Oh,
they
there you go.
own.
You're
Yeah,
right.
based out of all the acquisitions that they have.
Yeah. So no, just Future Quest. I didn't care for the look of the Flintstones, and what was the other one? The Scooby Doo one, and
Wacky Raceland.
yeah, Wacky
Mhm.
Raceland. Yeah, I just yeah.
I I have to admit, I agree with you that going off of the Hanna-Barbera traditional model that we're all accustomed to threw me off a little bit. I bought Wacky Raceland because I was a big Wacky Races fan, and I said, okay, if they're going to use this property, I have to check it out. Have to admit, I'm not enjoying it that much. Didn't even bother with Scooby-Doo Apocalypse because it just totally turned me off. The Flintstones, I said, okay, let me try issue number one. And I got to tell you, this book is, especially in today's political climate with the election coming up and everything, this is some great satirical commentary on life today. And I I can't believe that I'm still buying it, even though I would prefer. It's weird. I would still prefer the old model sheets,
Mm,
but that wouldn't go with the content that they have in there, I guess. And that was the thing that was turning me off, the way that they re
Hmm.
designed the characters.
Yeah.
But given the content, it actually fits,
You know,
and
you're
have
not
been enjoying it.
okay. You're not the only person I've heard talk about the Flintstones in that way. So I think maybe I've missed out.
At my local comic shop, one of the women at the local comic shop had it as her pick of the week. And I didn't want to get involved. And I said, you know what? I've tried all the other ones. Well, I didn't try Scooby Doo, but I had tried Wacky Raceland, Love Future Quest. And I said, okay, let me try the Flintstones. And the thing that she was selling me on were the puns. There was a 2-page splash of Bedrock, and all the stores had their names changed to be punny
Mm.
for prehistoric times. But in the end, it wasn't the puns that got me, it was the message of the book.
Hmm.
And I came back for issue number 2, and it just kept delivering, and it has ever since.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will look for that on the cheap.
Yeah. And believe me, I don't blame you.
On page 127, George, DC is getting into the what do they call them here? Their magazine, the magazine phase. You know, so Image Plus, they came out with that, and now DC's doing their own. I think Marvel's doing it too, if I remember correctly. Um, but they're doing a free quarterly magazine, which gives us, exclusive sneak peeks, it says, of every title and all this stuff. Anyway, so that's coming out. It's actually, they call it retro solicited here. So it's actually coming out November 30th. Um, so I maybe I'll get that in one of my shipments, but I just think it's funny that the major comic publishers are putting out these magazines, because I honestly
Yeah.
I don't care about them. Uh, but if I guess if it helps promote comics and get people interested, then sure, go ahead.
You
Especially if it's
mentioned,
free,
yes, exactly. You mentioned Image Plus, which I think the first 2 issues were free
something
with
like that.
previews,
Yeah.
but now you have to pay for them.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, Image, not doing it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a buck, I'm not doing it. I'll tell you one thing, if Marvel follows suit and they do it as the old Marvel age from back in
Mm.
the 80s,
Yeah.
I'll pay a buck for that.
Yeah.
If they do it, get Fred Hembeck back.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Or Chris Giarrusso could do the mini Marvels or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. That'd be
uh-huh.
awesome.
Yeah.
There also on that same page, George. There's this Love is Love,
Yes,
but it's a partnership with IDW. So I thought I'd wait to talk about that when we get to
that's fine.
IDW.
Sure.
Um,
You know what intrigues me? I don't have a lot of blank sketch covers, but
yeah.
the fact that Mad
Oh
Magazine
yeah.
on that page, number 543, has a blank sketch cover. Once I first saw that, the first thing that popped into my head was, okay, what could I get on a blank cover of Mad Magazine that would do it justice? And I think I need J.K. Woodward to do Alfred E. Newman.
Oh.
And the problem is I don't know what comes after the and. I have to figure that out. I'll figure it. Maybe I'll get that issue and just wait to see him at a convention or something like that
Yeah.
and come up with something. But I'm not the creative one, so I might have to leave it to a guy like him.
Yeah, exactly. I would think that an artist might appreciate that. Just say, "Here, I want this, but you put in the other thing."
Yeah, be as subversive as possible.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Mad Magazine after
exactly, right?
all. Hmm.
Okay, so the next few pages, George. This here's my rant again.
Here we
Um,
go.
it says here they're announcing it very confidently and boldly. The first DC Universe Rebirth collected editions are here.
Woo!
Okay, so
Wish I had a trumpet fanfare sound effect for you right here.
dun da da da. Uh, okay. So, like I said, 4 months in, and we have the trades now. Makes
Right.
me wonder. Like I said, makes me wonder why am I getting the individual issues? Um, but here's my problem with these, George. So I'm looking through these, going, okay, interesting. Got a bunch of these trades, and then I start noticing the prices,
Yes.
the page counts, and the number of issues included. And so you have a few $17, 192 pages. Aquaman is 8 issues. Batman is 7. So you're kind of not getting your money's worth as far as Batman goes.
Right.
the Flash is 216 pages for $18. So one more buck, and you get 9 issues
Hmm.
for that. And if you're a Green Arrow fan, like my good friend Travis, you're really getting taken to the cleaners because it's 160 pages, so fewer than Batman and Flash, but it's the same price, and it's only 6 issues.
All
It's
right.
it's six
So
issues, so
6 issues times $3 an issue is $18,
yeah,
right? And how much is that book? $18?
so $17 for Green Arrow.
Okay. Uh, I'm not quite sure, but it would be nice if the trade paperback would be some sort of a bargain to say, all right, you could have spent $18 picking these up individually. How about a little bit of a break in the trade paperback because you waited and you haven't been current with everything? So you're still spending basically the same amount of money, whereas you take Image could give you 5 or 6 issues for $10 for that first trade paperback to hook you.
Hmm.
Ugh, to use comic book vernacular.
Yeah,
Arg.
and that's there are another four, five, six, seven. There's a bunch of, well, I guess there's only four more of the DC Rebirth collected editions, and again, it's $17 for 176 pages, $17 for 168 pages. I don't understand why they price the things that they do in the way that they do. But
I agree.
if you pay close attention, like I did this time, it's kind of infuriating.
I'm with you, Eric, and I have the feeling a lot of your listeners are too. I think Mark, who just commented about your episode 105, needs to comment about his opinions on the cost of the trades.
Mm,
Yeah.
there you go. Challenge to Mark there, or anybody else.
We're not alone. We can't be alone. I know it. We
Yeah,
can't be.
yeah. Excuse me. I mentioned Greg Rucka earlier in regards to Wonder Woman, and George. They are putting out the Checkmate series that he did.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what time frame that was. It was after Infinite Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Checkmate by Greg Rucka, book one.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always heard, because I didn't read it,
Me neither.
but I've always heard it was a pretty good series,
Mm-hmm.
and so I might have to get that one.
That's on your list right now?
Yeah,
That
Thr
needs to be whittled down eventually?
296 pages, George, for $20.
Oh, well, that's a bargain for them,
That's
right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
good.
That's a good price for something like that.
Yeah.
They should. Well, I'm sure what DC's trying to do is recoup some of their investment because they're selling the monthly books at $2.99,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
So
right.
I guess that's why they're pricing those trades like they are.
And
Anyway.
there is an audience out there that doesn't pick up single issues at
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
The people who use Amazon, DCBS, Barnes and Noble, and just gets graphic novels and trade paperbacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I might be one of those coming up here
Eventually,
pretty soon.
yeah. Do you do any Vertigo books?
Yes,
You
I
do.
do. I do.
Hmm.
Um,
I'll admit I'm intrigued by Astro City number 41. Even though
okay. Yep.
there you go.
The 100th issue special. So it's actually issue 41, but
Hmm.
it's the 100th issue of Astro City from its long publishing history. So a great celebration there.
And look at that Alex Ross cover.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
man.
Well, there's two of them, right? Because they're
Oh
doing
yeah.
they're doing the variant cover, which is reminiscent of, I think, the first issue, or at least
I think you're right.
I think it's either the first issue or because I remember seeing this because my introduction to Astro City was through the trades that they put out
Hmm.
back before Kurt Busiek brought it to DC. But anyway, that's very close to that cover that I'm familiar with. But either way, you got an Alex Ross cover. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That is one of the nice things about that series in general is that you get Alex Ross covers.
If there happens to be any executive, any marketing person from the big two or any comic book company listening to this and listening to Eric and I rant about prices and the purse strings and stuff like that, I'm going to give a positive suggestion, and you can take it and you can run to the bank. I don't need any sort of commission. You can give some to Eric because it's his show. But instead of making posters that are 2 by 3 feet for people's walls of great artwork like this or lithographs, postcard size. Because a lot of us, we're adults now. We don't have the wall space for this stuff. But a postcard could fit into a nice 4 by 6 frame on your desk. You can even send it to a friend.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork like this, it shouldn't be relegated to poster size prints. We need postcard size.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion to the marketing people. Get on it.
That's an excellent idea. Oh, before
Or
we go any
even no
further,
cards.
yeah,
No
yeah,
cards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go any further into Vertigo, if you have anything else, George, on the previous page, 139,
Hmm.
the DC Universe Christmas trade is being offered again.
Oh yes, and I do. Do you have that?
No, I don't. So I'm probably going to pick this up too.
Yeah, I think I have it somewhere in this room.
I think I need to figure out first what's in it because I may have some of the individual issues that it may be included in this, but anyway, I just thought it was cool. You know, it's like I said, Christmas time. We love the holiday stuff, so
Yeah.
here this is for people that feel the same way and may want something like that. That's all I have for DC, George. What about you?
I just very quickly mention I'm not much of a horror comics fan, but I've been reading Clean Room
Oh yeah,
by Gail Simone. Number 15 comes out, and that has continued to intrigue me, even though it is a horror comic. I will also mention another holiday themed comic. It looks like Lucifer number 13.
oh right,
If for no other reason, the cover looks like a heck of a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Lucifer and Santa Claus. Yeah,
Yeah, I might actually pick it up again. Holiday theme. They know how to get to my heart.
yeah. All right.
IDW?
Yes, let's go to IDW.
Are you still doing the Star Trek stuff
Oh,
or
well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, because
okay?
was it Boldly Go, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Boldly Go. So that's the third issue is listed here. I haven't gotten issue number one yet. I think that's coming next week, but
Hmm.
for me. But yeah, I love IDW's Star Trek stuff. What's his name? Mike Johnson, writing that book has just been fantastic. They've just done a wonderful job. There's also John Burns,
Hmm.
the New Visions series. Have you looked at that, George?
The last time I was on your show, you spoke very highly of
Okay.
those. I have not picked them up, any of them up yet, but again, friends and family. Not only Christmas is in December, but my birthday. Remember that.
Yeah. Well,
John Burns, Star Trek photo books, New Visions.
this is one of those things where really I should wait for the trade because they're
Mhm.
$8 individually, and you
Mm.
can get a collection of I want to say four, maybe three. Let's see, one, two, three, four. So there are four issues. So if the volume four trade is in here too,
Mm.
and it's only $20. So you know, 8 times 4, you're saving a few bucks there if you
Yeah.
wait for the trade.
And it actually might be a fun one to pick up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's new original series sort of.
Right.
You know, I just really like it. So I appreciate John Burns' efforts in that.
It was a cool concept to even think of to even think of doing that in the first place. And the fact that he's carried it on so long is a testament to its success.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Star Trek 2, there's on the next page. There's the volume 2 Star Trek Green Lantern crossover.
Yeah.
I actually have. I just recently got the first trade of that, so I haven't read it yet. But I'm looking forward to it. But now
Yeah.
here's a whole new mini series with all those characters back together again.
They've done some fun stuff with Star Trek and other properties over the years, so this does look like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was on the show last time, I don't think Revolution was being solicited. Did you get into the whole Revolution thing with IDW?
No.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I tend to, other than Star Trek, I tend to not get into the other properties stuff
Hmm.
for the most part. So yeah,
Yeah,
I just kind of I look at it and go, yeah, that's interesting. I
yeah.
hope people enjoy it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I didn't get into it, but I am collecting ROM and Micronauts.
Mm,
I probably am doing it out of a nostalgic
yeah.
thing, but I'm enjoying them so far, so I haven't cut them off yet.
Well, I see here that they have the first trade for Micronauts. So
Yes. Hmm.
uh,
So for those who wanted to jump on board, now would be a good time.
yeah.
Hmm.
George, would you recommend that for someone who never really got into Micronauts
Ooh,
back in the day, or?
well, it is totally different than it's a different feel. It is more modern storytelling. I don't think you have to be a fan of the toys or the previous incarnation at Marvel to enjoy this. Uh, Colin Bunn writes it. Colin Bunn is known for so many other things. If you're a Colin Bunn fan, I'd say give it a shot at the very least.
Well, and that's kind of what intrigues me because I
Mhm.
love his work. I loved his work on Sixth Gun and some other stuff he's done, but I don't know. Like I said, the
Yeah,
property stuff just doesn't excite me all that much.
I haven't read the issues that tie into Revolution yet, so I don't know how they're handling it as opposed to, say, how Marvel and DC handle an event that crosses over into a bunch of ongoing titles. So I'm not quite sure how it's moving the narrative along yet. The last issues I've read are the ones prior to any Revolution tie-ins, so hopefully they can keep the momentum going and not be tied down by whatever's going on in this Revolution thing.
Hmm.
Hopefully it's just a natural storyline that just can keep it going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I also see GI Joe #1 if you're a big fan of GI Joe, which
Yeah, I
again
noticed that they did that.
I wasn't. So
Right. Now that universe, them and the Transformers, I'm pleasantly surprised that they're still going, but I think the emphasis is on the word surprised
yeah.
that they're still going. And I'm glad that there is a market out there for that. And like you said, in general, going with a licensed property isn't your thing, not necessarily mine either, but I'm glad that there is an audience out there for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Are you in general a John Byrne fan besides for the New Vision stuff he's doing at Star Trek?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know that I've read much of anything that he's done recently, but
Hmm.
I've loved his stuff. I loved his Alpha Flight. Um, he did that Superman Batman Generations series many
Right.
years
Yeah, that was
ago. I love that. So yeah, generally speaking, I guess.
well because on page 182 there's John Byrne's Cold War,
Yeah,
100-page wonders.
I
I
noticed
might
that.
give that a shot.
I've never heard of that, so I don't know anything about it other than what's obviously written here. But yeah, ooh,
IDW did publish a series or a couple of series by John Byrne.
hmm
I know there was Trio that was superhero
right,
themed, but there, I think, I don't know if this is a collection of those other books because I think there was a book called Cold War. It's not clear whether this is a compilation of a miniseries or this is this character who might have been in a previous miniseries in a new graphic novel. That part's not very clear in this solicit. I didn't read any of those books, but I am curious about this collected edition here with 100 pages,
yeah,
whether
because
it's new or not.
yeah, it says 100-page wonder. I wonder if that is. Yeah, I kind of think it's maybe reprint material, but it's eight
Yeah,
bucks for 100 pages, though. I
yeah.
don't know.
I might give it a shot.
It's spy stuff, which I love spy comics, so
Hmm.
maybe I should check that out too. George. I want to jump back a couple pages. Uh,
Please do.
we mentioned the Love is Love during as part of DC,
Oh,
but here
yes,
but
yes.
here it is under IDW because what they did is I guess IDW is published. No, it says it says from IDW Publishing with assistance from DC Entertainment. I'm not sure what that's all about, but anyway, IDW is putting it out with DC's help, however that whatever that means. But It's a comic that is it says here, to honor those killed in Orlando this year. It's an oversized comic that contains moving and heartfelt material from some of the greatest talents in comics, mourning the victims, supporting the survivors, celebrating the LGBTQ community, and examining love in today's world. So the materials have all been donated from the creative to the production, with all proceeds, it says in all caps here, going to the victims, survivors, and their families via Equality Florida. And so that's $10. And you got, the likes of Phil Jimenez, Steve Orlando, Dennis Cohen, Paul Dini, Ming Doyle, Brian Bendis. Just Brian Bendis, not Brian Michael Bendis. So that's interesting. Maybe they just ran out of room. Kieran Gillen, and many, many more. The cover is by one of my favorite artists, Elsa Chartier, and Jordi Belair did the covers or colors. So anyway, I always like to support things like this, and I think it's important to remind people to lend a helping hand where they can, and this is one way to do it, and you get something out of it. You get a nice comic, right?
Right. 144 pages of quality work for $10. Not bad.
100. So that's 44 more pages. Wait, no,
Yeah.
the John Byrne thing was $8, wasn't it, for 100 pages?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So $1
And
more.
I think that's better math than some of the DC Rebirth compilations. Right? Yeah. Any money goes to a good cause.
George, did you see the Michael Kaluta artist edition?
Oh, my
Page
God.
183?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh,
my goodness.
God.
You talk about beautiful. I mean, I know this is an audio medium, but my goodness, that is beautiful stuff.
See, and I'm not familiar with Starstruck, which is the material that's being presented here, but it doesn't matter. Michael Kaluta.
Yeah.
Oh man. $150. Oh wait, it's 144 pages, $150.
There you go.
But it's oversized and it's reprinting the page art that Michael Kaluta did for that project. So,
and deeper into that solicit, it says that there's going to be new material in 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
For that. So I'll be on the lookout for that for sure.
I think you and I can both safely say, unfortunately, that while this artwork is beautiful, it's probably not on our list of things that we're going to be ordering.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
I have yet to get one of those artist editions. I really wanted the what's his name? Man.
Well, there's so many of them out there now.
Well, the guy who did Daredevil with Frank Miller years ago,
was it a John Romita Jr.
No, not Romita. It was oh gosh,
Klaus Janson?
Nope. Or later than that.
Brian Mazzucchello?
Yes, Mazzucchelli.
Am I pronouncing?
Yes.
Mazzucchelli. There you go. I never pronounced the names right, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the one. So I really wanted that one.
Nice.
Like you're making those subtle hints to your friends and family.
Yes. Let's not forget Eric's birthday's in December also, folks.
I did that with my wife, and apparently I was not direct enough.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that. And now it's hard to find, and it's going for a pretty penny if you can.
Is it really?
Yeah, on eBay. So
wow.
We'll see. One of these days, I'm sure I'll find. Actually, I wanted that Jack Kirby one that they solicited a month or two ago, but yeah, that's just $150 is a lot to put down for a book.
Especially, I mean, you can't leave it on your coffee table. Like any other coffee table book, so that people can. You don't want anybody touching that book.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of holiday themed stuff, how about all that Disney holiday themed stuff, like on page 184 and 185? Is that anything your granddaughters would get into?
The Christmas parade.
Yeah, the Mickey and Donald Christmas parade. I bought last year's. I'm probably going to buy this year's.
Okay.
Yeah. They also have, Uncle Scrooge looks like it's holiday themed. Uncle Scrooge number 21.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald and Mickey, the Magic Kingdom collection. It looks like a bunch of stories based in the theme parks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to admit, I might want to get that. I've been on a Disney kick now for the past decade or so. So something comics related to the theme parks are kind of up my alley right now. So they once again know how to get into my pocket.
Well, I have to admit, I kind of like some other things I've said before. Well, the properties, cartoon properties and stuff, toy
Yeah.
properties. I'm not really into Disney stuff. I'm more of a Warner Brothers cartoon
Mm-hmm.
guy, so
Yeah.
I tend to kind of gloss over the Disney stuff. But those are great recommendations. Like you said, I do think my granddaughters would love a couple of those.
Just the fact that there are the holiday themed ones and then the ones about the parks. Those those are unique enough to attract my attention.
Hmm. All right, that's all I have for IDW, George.
Same here.
Okay. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. There was one I missed at the very beginning.
Oh,
Uh, there's a new Lock and Key one shot for those Lock and Key fans.
did you read that?
I've read the first volume, the
Uh-huh.
first trade of that work. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I kept meaning to go back and get the other trades.
Hmm.
I just haven't done it yet. It's on my list,
I
but
have, like I said before, I'm not much of a horror fan, but there's so much positive buzz on Lock and Key that eventually I'll probably read it in a trade form like you are, pick up a couple of volumes and
mhm.
read it finally.
Well, it looks like there's only six trades,
Mm.
six collections. You can get it either hardcover or trade paperback, or if you want, you can get the slipcase set holiday edition for $100. I'm not sure exactly what that means, holiday edition, but anyway,
Well, it
the
has the more cheery ending.
there
It has the Hallmark Channel style ending.
you go, there you go. But anyway, like I said, it's a new one shot. It's called Small World. It says 3 years after wrapping up their award-winning best-selling Lock and Key, the team that built Key House returns with a new tale of terror and suspense. So yeah, I know a lot of people that like Lock and Key, so I thought I would mention that.
Yeah.
Image Comics.
Oh yeah, sure.
Again, I don't have much here, but
I don't, you know what? I don't think I have anything
really,
flagged in here.
well, first up here at the front of the image part is Motor Crush, and I only mention this because it is the creative team that worked on the Batgirl, the new 52 Batgirl.
Yes.
What's her names? Brendan Fletcher, Cameron Stewart, and Babs Tarr doing, I think, their first creator-owned work together. Yeah, so it's supposed to be a sci-fi action-adventure series featuring a character Domino Swift, who competes for fame and fortune in a worldwide motorcycle racing league.
Hmm.
So there you go. I won't get this, but I really liked those creators and what they did together and just I don't know they seem to work really well together and mostly it has to a lot to do with hearing them speak at a couple cons that I went to
Hmm.
and just the way that they talked about each other and how they fed off of each other in terms of creating the content they did. So and Cameron Stewart and Babs Tarr, well, and Brendan Fletcher too. We stopped by their respective booths at Emerald City one year recently, and they were just fantastic people and very gracious. And so I like to reward creators that respond really well to fans like that.
Right.
So even though I'm even though I'm not promoting their or I'm not supporting their work by buying it, I want to throw that out there for people who might want to buy this comic. So
There are a lot of fans out there these days that do follow creators, and fans of the Burnside Batgirl books will probably follow them over here because of the changes in Batgirl right now after Rebirth. I think people are missing that. And it's not Batgirl, but it's your favorite creators. Check them out on their new book.
yep, exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you said you didn't have anything for Image, but are you read? Did you pick up last month? Did you pick up Jonathan Hickman's Frontier by
I
any
did not.
chance? Okay.
No, 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 no. And I'll tell you, Jonathan Hickman books are great, But the problem is, and I don't think I'm alone in this, in single issues and the way I read my single issues, unfortunately, I can't even say I read them the month they come out. So the complexity of a Hickman plot doesn't lend itself to me to be in single issues. So it would be almost like watching an episodic TV show where you really have to pay attention to what's going on in that 1 hour, but you don't watch the next episode for 6 months, and you were already confused in the first episode, and now you watch the second episode and you're really lost, but you realize there's some good storytelling going on over here.
Hmm.
That's what a Jonathan Hickman book is to me. I think he should concentrate more on maybe the long form graphic novel
Mm,
rather than waiting for it to be collected. At least that's the way I enjoy a Hickman book.
yeah.
For instance, I hear East of West is fantastic. I read the first trade. I had no idea what was going on, but I wanted to know what was going to happen, and I'm actually waiting for it to end before I pursue it any further.
Okay.
Which I'm not quite sure that's the way one should be interested in a creator or their work, but that seems to work with me in Hickman properties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was really looking forward to this because Frontier is, I think it's the first book he's done in a very long time where he's doing everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he's not just writing it like a lot of his other books.
Hmm.
So I'm really curious. Plus, it's the way the first issue was described, or at least the series was described, was um, really dark Star Trek.
Exactly. Right. Hmm.
So I thought, well, you're pushing a lot of buttons for me on this series, so I might as well give it a shot.
That's right. When you're stuck in an elevator with Jonathan Hickman and he tells you he's writing a book that's a dark Star Trek, that's all the pitch you need.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to jump ahead several pages here, George. But you already talked about Moby Dick. But here's another great literary character and story redone in comic form, and that is Beowulf. This is a
Yes.
hardcover Beowulf. The story has been redone by Santiago Garcia, and the art is by David Rubin.
I almost put that down on my list of being interested. But man, again, you know what? I sound cheap. This is the problem. I'm sounding cheap. I don't have $30. If I
Yeah.
laid out $30 for this hardcover, which looks like it's beautiful, uh, there would have to be so many things that came off my list to allow this one to be on it that I went more for quantity.
Mm.
Yeah. But this looks like a beautiful book.
It's definitely on my short list. We'll
Hmm.
we'll see how the total of my shopping
Yeah.
cart ends up.
Uh,
But
I hate to keep bringing that up as a prerequisite of what I'm going to purchase, but this is a show to talk about previews and what's interesting to us. So whether or not we actually buy these books,
that's right.
only the publisher cares, not the listener, right?
Yeah, but Beowulf is one of my all-time favorite, old stories, and I,
Yeah.
I love to see reinterpretations of it. And like you said, the art for that book
Yeah.
looks
Oh,
pretty good, especially that cover image is it's just beautiful looking.
and I can only imagine it on that hardcover. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
now I'm selling it on myself again. I better stop.
Well, so like I said, I get stuff through DCBS,
Hmm.
so it's image. Most likely it'll be at least 40% off, if not 50% off for that book. So
So you could be looking at maybe 15 or $18 at
yeah,
that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's manageable. It just depends on how much other stuff I get.
That's the only thing you're buying, sure.
But I definitely will be getting this, George. This is the Invincible Volume 23 trade.
Are
This
you a big fan of
I am
Invincible?
a huge fan of Invincible, but I started getting the series in trades, and I never went to the individual issues. So I'm
I
just
see.
sticking with the trades, and so finally I get the next volume because that last volume 22 ended on such a really cool cliffhanger that I can't
Oh
wait to
wow.
read what comes next. And of course, they announced not too long ago that Invincible will be coming to an end. So we're
Hmm.
we're marching to the inevitable final or finale of the series. So I'll definitely when I know that the final issue, monthly issue is hit, I'm going to be chomping at the bit to get that final trade.
What do you think? It'll be a total of 25? Is that what it would work out to?
I
25
would
trades?
guess, but
Yeah, the
yeah.
math works
I,
out that way.
I think I think the latest issue that's solicited here is I want to say 137.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're. I think they only put like 5 issues in a trade, but
Mm-hmm. Well, if they go to 150 and maybe there's 6 issues in a trade, the math would work out there.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
if they go to that, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Seems like a nice even
yeah.
number
Round
to end
number,
on,
right?
right?
Yeah.
But you
Uh-huh.
know what? If they end on 149, why not?
Right. Why not?
Just
Right.
something different, right? And then, so I noticed too, George, that Image is reoffering old trades of things,
Oh,
uh, but they're calling it back press, which I thought was an interesting branding that they're doing.
yeah.
Next on the next page from the Invincible it says 235. They got Phonogram Volume One, and if you haven't read Phonogram, I highly recommend people, especially if you're into music,
Mm.
if you're into, especially the oh, I'm not a music aficionado. My friend Travis is more into the music stuff. So I'm not going to offer what I think the music that's featured because it's been a while since I've read the trades of Phonogram, but um, despite that failure on my part, uh, I really enjoyed those stories, those trades I got of Phonogram, and in fact, I think Volume One is probably my favorite out of the bunch. So I again highly recommended people should pick this up, especially if you're a Kieran Gillen fan, Jamie McKelvey. Uh,
Great team. Great team.
Great team. I think this is yeah the first, at least the first, I think the first 2 trades were black and white, a Phonogram, and doesn't matter. It's beautiful looking stuff. It's a great story. Go get it.
All right. You might have just sold me on that.
And then last thing for me, George, for Image, they're curious. It's a curious thing to me. I have not read this book, Black Science, since it first came out. Essentially, I got it and I quickly dropped it. Not because it was bad in any way. It's just wasn't holding my interest. But I know
Mm.
other people are really like this book, and they have this limited edition statue that they're putting out for. It's an 11-inch statue for Black Science. I thought that's a really interesting thing.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Limited to 500 pieces for $150. Comes out
And
December
that
7th.
that's definitely the style of the art in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a really nice job of recreating
Yeah.
that for sure.
I haven't read it, but a coworker of mine recommended it so highly that I bought the hardcover collection that I guess collects 2 trade paperbacks in it. So I might have issues 1 through 15 on my bookshelf, just waiting to be read in this beautiful hardcover, and I
Mm,
just haven't gotten to him yet. But he's spoken so highly of him that I want to give it a shot.
yeah.
And if I agree with him, then whenever the next hardcover comes out, I'll just pick that up also.
Mm. Well, let me
Yeah.
know what you think of it. I'd be curious
Okay.
because I
Great.
know again my friend Travis he's a big fan of it, I believe, and I feel like I've missed out
Hmm.
since I dropped it. Maybe I should have been keeping up with it, but
I
eh,
like a good time travel story. I like a good story with alternate universes. And from what my friend told me about it, it seems like you remember the show Sliders?
oh yeah, I was a big fan of that show.
It seems like it's like that on crack, though.
and a, and a
That's what it seems like.
and a darker version of that, yeah.
Yes, a very dark version, how he described it. Yes.
Okay, shall we move to Marvel?
Yeah, let's do that.
I actually have quite a bit here on under Marvel
Okay,
for
good,
some
because
reason.
I'm going to let you carry this,
Oh no.
and I'm going to let you know as you pass pages whether or not I have the same thing, which I think in a lot of cases I may, because I really don't have that much for Marvel, relatively speaking, either. So I will let you carry this.
Okay. Well, we talked about the event books from the big two, and
Yes.
here is another one. IVX Inhumans versus X-Men, number 1 of 6. So this is co-written. So this is what I found curious. It's co-written by Charles Soule and Jeff Lemire,
Yeah.
with Laniel Francis Yu doing the art. So again, I won't be getting this, but I know a lot of people like these event books, and so there you go.
Civil War II just ended, didn't
I
it?
know, right? And so we
Yeah.
get this other battle between groups of Marvel characters. It's a really interesting time, and
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm using that word "interesting" in reference to this, but it's curious. Maybe that's the better term that I should throw out there.
Hmm.
Why Marvel is doing all of these group conflict event things.
Yeah.
Well, but then
And
again, most events from DC Marvel are like group event conflict things, right? So what do I know?
well, I mean, we just had the heroes fighting the heroes in Civil War II, so now we just have the mutants fighting the Inhumans in this one.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but we just had that story.
yeah.
The reason for it may be different, but we just had that story. I will say this. On page 6, the cover of Extraordinary X-Men number 17, the homage to Secret Wars, what was it, number 4? Where the Hulk, I
Oh
forget what
yeah.
issue number it was, where the Hulk is holding up the rock over the heroes. I'm guessing that's what this is paying tribute to here.
I missed
I
that.
like I
Yeah.
like the cover. I like the cover.
Uh-huh. Actually, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, there are actually a lot of really cool looking covers in the Marvel previews magazine. So
Hmm.
I wasn't going to mention all of them, but yeah, I remember going through this and going, oh, that's a neat cover. Oh, that's another
Yeah.
neat cover. So yeah.
I'm
Um,
sorry, Marvel. I'm not buying the book based on the cover, but it is a nice cover.
yeah. Well, again, speaking of covers, this is a cover by Jeff DeCal, Hulk #1. So this is the She-Hulk character getting a new book, but it's just called Hulk.
Yep. Beautiful
Uh,
cover.
yeah, I I love his work.
Yeah.
I really do. He's doing a lot of new or he's doing a lot of cover work recently, especially for Marvel. So I'm glad to see that.
That's another one that would make a great postcard.
Yes, yes. Well, and maybe this one too. On the next page is the new Hawkeye series. This is
Hmm.
featuring the Kate Bishop character,
Yeah.
written by Kelly Thompson and with Leonardo Romero on art. I'm not familiar with that person's art, but that cover. Who's the cover by? Julian Totino Tedesco.
Hmm.
Looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But are
Uh,
you going to buy it?
I don't know. I really like that character,
That's on the
and
Plan B list of yours.
yeah, I think it is,
Hmm.
but we'll see. Um, again, on the next page, when I first went through previews, George, I just kind of glossed over this because this is slapstick,
Oh, slapstick.
and it looks like the Marvel version of The Mask.
Yeah.
In it has a very similar look, and the description of the series really reminds me of The Mask, just in the Marvel universe. But I read it, and I read the description here. This character Steve Harmon, average teenager who had an average job as your average clown. Although given the whole killer clown thing that's going on these
Oh
days, I
yeah.
don't
This
know if this is appropriate.
might be
Um,
bad timing.
yeah. Living in an average New Jersey, but he's then zapped by weird and mysterious extra dimensional energy, aren't they all? Uh, he becomes a living, breathing cartoon. And I don't know, just that idea just kind of intrigues me. So,
I
what would,
remember when slapstick first appeared. I think it was in the 90s. I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to think. Who do you think came first? Slapstick or Harley Quinn?
oh, I don't know. I
Because
would
look,
assume Harley Quinn, but
well, look at him. I mean, he's got that crazy look. He's got that
oh,
hammer.
the mallet. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of cartoonish. Yeah, I mean, he definitely cartoonish. I don't know.
So slapstick is this is an old character that they're redoing.
Yeah, well, Slapstick also had just recently appeared in those Deadpool books,
Oh yeah.
the Mercs for
The
Hire or
Mercs for
whatever it's
hire.
called.
Mercs for money. Yeah.
Yeah, Mercs for Money. Yeah, which the cast of characters in there, not that I read it, but in the solicits, when they showed the cast of characters, I was very surprised to see a lot of those characters, and especially slapstick coming out of obscurity like that. But they have Fool Killer in here and Solo
Hmm.
being solicited in new books, and I don't know why they're deciding to resurrect these properties, but you never know. Maybe there's some other event coming up that we don't know about where they're going to figure prominently.
Be X-Men 92 versus the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or bring back Obnoxio the Clown.
uh, all right. Not to be outdone, Marvel is doing a holiday themed book, so to speak, in the
Hmm.
Power Man and Iron Fist Sweet Christmas Annual.
Yes. That's on my A list.
It's yeah, I'm probably gonna get this. I let in the text is good too. You better not pout. You better not cry because you're getting an extra helping of Power Man and Iron Fist. This Christmas will be sweet indeed.
And again, that cover is nice.
Yeah, I do
Hey,
like that cover.
yeah, are you reading Power Man and Iron Fist? Because I'm not, but I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, again, same for me too.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't like Iron Fist's tracksuit look,
Hmm.
but whatever.
I'm about to. People listening to your show now. What are we? Oh God, we're about 2 hours in here.
Oh my gosh.
People are probably listening to my side of the conversation and going, Eric, why do you have this guy on the show again? Because his views are dumb. And I'm gonna say this right now.
No.
There is nothing wrong with Sanford Green
Nope.
or the artist on this book, Scott Hepburn. There is nothing wrong with a plethora of artists out there that have their own style. I can mention a whole lot of them that don't do it for me, and the reason for that, and a lot of them are they're all very talented, and they're very popular. But I'm at the point, I guess, maybe I'm at that age. I'm at that point in my life where I need almost like the house style that used to exist back in the 70s and the 80s, where like say what Jose Garcia Luis Lopez used to do.
Hmm.
I know I just butchered his name, but or Kurt Swan or John Romita Sr. or the way those guys drew, there was a certain style there that we seem to be missing, and seeing Power Man and Iron Fist drawn like this, as opposed to what I was used to back in the 80s, that the curmudgeon in me just comes out. And I know it has nothing to do with the writing, it has nothing to do with the fantastic art, but that art doesn't quite do it for me. And here I know this is going to be sacrilege. The latest Doctor Strange, I know everybody is loving it. I had to stop buying it, not necessarily because the story was bad, but I didn't. The art wasn't doing it for me. And everybody loves Chris Bacalo. Is that how you pronounce his name? Everybody loves his work. They're saying he's perfectly suited for Doctor Strange, and I'm like, no, I need a guy like Michael Golden to be doing Doctor Strange. I need somebody like that, and that just shows that I just need everybody to get off my lawn. I probably said the same thing the last time I was on your show, but I just have to say that the reason I'm not necessarily buying Power Man and Iron Fist is the art isn't doing it for me. I will pick this up because it's a holiday issue. But I'm a lot of comics these days, especially for the big two, the art's not doing it for me.
Well, so Power Man Iron Fist is drawn by Sanford Green, right? And
Yeah,
the annual is done by Scott Hepburn.
yeah. And
So
again,
is
nothing against either of those guys. It's just a particular style that takes me
okay.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but that cover by Jamal Campbell looks really cool.
Yes, and
I
in
have to admit.
fact, yeah, that does look really good. But I might like the Trevor Von Eden one better.
Hmm. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know, right? Which just probably just goes to show I'm just a curmudgeon and I like the older artist, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It
Huh.
makes no sense.
Yeah, I like that one too. Well, that's different from what I remember of Trevor Von Eden's work.
Yeah. Hey,
Anyway,
before we move forward, I do want to say I am interested in the Great Lakes Avengers. I mean, they're already soliciting issue number 3. I don't have number 1 in my hands yet, but I am interested in what they're going to do with this older property. I'm guessing it's going to be funny, a lot of humor. I'm hoping.
it looks like it's more of a humorous book. Yeah,
Yeah.
I pondered that one as well when I saw issue number one solicited because I remember these characters from, oh gosh, what was it? West Coast Avengers?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
A,
So
a John Byrne joint.
yeah, yeah. But I didn't order it. So you have to let me know what you think of that title.
Yeah, I'm hoping not to be disappointed.
You mentioned Doctor Strange just a minute ago. There's another Doctor Strange book here that I just it's curious to me because of who they're teaming him up with, and that's
hmm
Doctor Strange Punisher
Yeah, right.
colon Magic Bullets miniseries.
hmm
Like what? What? I don't get it, but there you go. Doctor Strange
It's
seems to be the Deadpool of the day of the moment, right? He seems to
right.
be everywhere because there's a movie coming out and all this interest in that character, I suppose. But
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised.
no, no. But putting him with Punisher really did surprise me. Not a team up I would expect. I'm jumping ahead to page 100 in the Marvel book
Oh, okay.
uh, because Powers is back. So
Oh, yes, pal.
the TV show is done, but the comic lives on finally after all these months and almost seems like years between issues. But first is the Powers coloring book. So you get to color Michael Avon Emming's wonderful black and white work. Although I have to wonder, and I'm just poking fun here, uh, you probably won't get to color much because of all that black
Yeah,
that he
yeah,
throws in there.
that's true.
Anyway,
What do you think? Powers failed because of the network it was on, the whole PlayStation thing?
I,
Yeah,
that that was kind of my thought, but I don't know. I, I
yeah.
I did watch because they offered that first episode for free online,
Oh,
and
did they?
I watched it and I enjoyed it. I would have liked to have watched the rest of it, but
hmm
I don't have a PlayStation. I didn't plan on getting a PlayStation,
Right.
so I'll have to
Yeah,
wait and see if they release it, and maybe they have. I don't know.
yeah.
Release it in a format that I can actually partake in.
You talk hypocrisy. I said I was a hypocrite before,
Yeah.
earlier in the show. Remember how I was telling you how I missed the house style back in the old days, as I lean on my cane over here? I will tell you one book that I am enjoying that I would never consider this particular artwork house style, but I am enjoying Patsy Walker, aka
Ah,
Hellcat, and number 13 is solicited that this particular month. I'm
that.
also enjoying Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Oh yeah. See, those are both books that I've heard I should be reading, and I'm not. And I think I'm gonna have to invest in some trades here at some point.
I don't know what they have planned for Moon Girl, but she seems to be poised to at least be part of whatever the next event is, you know?
Well, and it's even written by Amy Reeder, and I enjoy her work. So I don't know. It's issue 14.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know
you
that
have
I
the
could
whole
just.
thing in there, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I know you went all the way to page 100 with Powers. I will say I enjoy the Disney property comics that Marvel puts out,
Oh yeah.
and uh, while I haven't read issue number 1 yet, issue number 3 of Enchanted Tiki Room uh, is is solicited in this one, and it's a 5 issue miniseries. So if anybody's interested in anything like that, while I can't highly recommend it because I haven't read it yet, I do think it will be entertaining.
You know, out of all the ones that they've been doing, I looked at that and went, "Really?
I
Enchanted
know,
Tiki
right?
Room? Really?"
And I'll admit I haven't bought them all, but for some reason it was almost like, okay, the Tiki Room, it's crazy enough that it just might work.
And you know what? I've heard they've updated the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland and whatnot, but
That's what I've heard also.
I don't know what that means exactly because when I went there, it was still the traditional
Mm,
entertainment that it was, and
yeah,
the last time that I took my wife and I took our granddaughters to Disneyland just a few years ago. Uh, I was really bummed that no one in the family wanted to go to the Enchanted Tiki Room, and so I missed
really.
out on that because I liked it because I'd been there once
Oh,
before
uh-huh.
to Disneyland when we took our younger daughter to it, and so I was kind of disappointed they wouldn't let me go to that. Anyway, George, did you see so Star Wars?
Mm.
You know that little property that no one knows anything about.
Yeah, that's right. That up and comer.
Yeah. So they have. Oh gosh, where is it? I've lost my page. They have this slipcase collection. Where the heck is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, the Star Wars box set slipcase. So this is on sale, not in time for Christmas, unfortunately, but because it says on sale April 2017. But you can get a bunch of. Are these hardbacks? Or are they trade paperbacks? Do. I'm not seeing. It says. Yeah, I can't tell. Anyway, you get a bunch of these. Oh no, they are hardcovers. Looks like yes. It does say that. Okay, premier hardcovers. So you get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like $350.
Well, make room under your tree, folks. Oh, well, it won't come out till April,
April,
so
yeah. I'm so that
maybe the Easter Bunny.
that seems a little pricey for
I
12
know.
books.
And those are all collected editions, right? They're what are they from the films?
Yeah, yes, and including some other things too. Darth
Hmm.
Vader, the volume 1 of Darth Vader premiere, Heroes for a New Hope premiere hardcover. Oh, you get the Marvel covers, Star Wars
Oh,
covers,
uh-huh.
and a poster
Ugh,
apparently.
let's see, nine.
But
Well, I mean, if there were 10 books at $30 a piece, I don't know. I'll be honest,
yeah,
not
you're
on my
probably
A
right.
list.
You're probably
Yeah,
right. 30, yeah, at least $30 a piece for that. Yeah, that I guess that makes sense. But still, $350.
it
That's
doesn't put it on our list.
ooh, ooh. Especially
We
since
may be
they're
able to rationalize the price, but that doesn't mean we're buying it.
putting in including the episodes 1, 2, and 3 adaptations. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
did I say that?
Well, Marvel included them, not you.
Yeah. Um, I always, at every opportunity, George, I try to promote the Mighty Thor,
The Mighty
Jason
Thor.
Aaron's Thor
Hmm.
books, whatever they're called, Mighty Thor, Thor, whatever. I don't care because they're awesome and people should be reading them.
So what volume is this one? That's
This is volume 1 of the Mighty Thor book, but it's the trade version, not the hardcover version. This collects issues 1 through 5, and so this is the Jane Foster as Thor
okay. All right.
storyline, and it's phenomenal. Just as everything else that Jason Aaron has done regarding Thor in recent years.
Mhm.
So people should just go buy this and read it because
Wh-
it's one of the best superhero comics on the stands.
And when you said 1 through 5 or whatever the numbers were, I was thinking you were going all the way back to the God Butcher and
God Bomb and
uh,
all that.
the
Yeah,
God Bomb. Because of all the renumbering that's taking place, it's hard to keep track of what Thor number 1 through 5 really means.
yeah. Well, this is the series that followed that whole Thor storyline.
Ah,
So
okay.
it's excellent. I love it to death. And then just a couple more things I have here for Marvel. If you're a Marvel Man fan or Miracle Man, if you're more familiar with that character, but here is the Marvel Man Classic This is the trade paperback. I'm pretty sure they've already done a hardcover, but this is reprinting a bunch of the old Marvel Man stuff by Mick Anglo and other people. And you get like looks like 10 issues of comics for $20 of the comics for $20 in this collection. And I love Miracle Man. I'm getting all the hardcover reprints they've been doing. Marvel's been
Oh,
doing.
you are. Oh.
And well, I got the series back in the day when they were releasing it. Um,
Mhm.
and but I have to admit I have not read much of Marvel Man stuff, so I'm kind of curious.
Oh, cool. I'll admit I haven't either.
And then finally, I found this curious. It's a special Marvel Treasury Edition trade. So it's 10 by 13 essentially.
Hmm.
This book. It's the Heroes of Power, the Women of Marvel,
Hmm.
and so you get a bunch of it looks like number one or first appearances of some of the more recent uh, uh, female superhero characters. Gwenpool, Spider Gwen, Ms. Marvel, the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel, and there's something from the Free Comic Book Day Civil War II issue as well. Oh, I guess that's featuring the new Wasp. I'm assuming.
Hmm.
So anyway,
That sounds like fun.
anything else
Back
from
in the day,
Marvel?
did you? Well, back in the day, did you read Kazar by Bruce
Oh,
Jones and Brent Anderson?
I didn't, but I always enjoyed Kazar's appearances, like in Spider-Man comics that I
Uh-huh.
read. So yeah, I
I,
saw
I
that.
do.
I saw that too. And
Yeah, there's a trade paperback of just the first 5 issues. I remember those fondly. That they were a lot of fun.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when did that come out, George? That series? Do you remember?
Boy, it, uh, when did it come out originally?
The Kazar the Savage.
Back in the 80s, I believe.
Okay.
Whether it was mid 80s, late 80s, and it was one of the first comics that went to the. In fact, you guys mentioned it on your last episode when you were with Peter Rios, talking about going to the Baxter paper.
Oh, okay.
On the Marvel side, I think it was Micronauts, Kazar, and Moon Knight
Oh, okay.
went strictly to the Baxter paper. They didn't have the newsprint reprints like Teen Titans and Legion did in simultaneously with the Baxter comic book store exclusive comics. They just went to that format, and then they just abandoned the newsprint for those titles
Mm,
totally. Yeah,
okay.
and I think that was one of them that went to it. I may be wrong. Somebody will probably correct me, but I could almost swear that that was one of them that went to that special type of paper back in the 80s.
I think I remember knowing about the title, but I never read any of it.
Hmm.
So and Marvel even says Savage Tales from a series that's one of Marvel's hidden gems. So
I would,
apparently I
I
missed
would,
out.
I would say that I recall, and again, people probably correct. No, I know I'm right about this because I know I did this. They had a contest to draw a cover based on the comic you just read. And I drew one, but I never submitted
Oh,
it because I didn't think it was very good. But I did
but you
draw a
did it.
cover,
That's
so I
cool.
remember that. Yeah, so I think there's another type of thing from days gone by, soliciting the reader to participate in a way like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
should
I
do more of
remember doing.
that.
That was a lot of fun. But instead of the teenagers of the early 20s folks, it'll be 40, 50, 60-year olds participating, right?
Yeah, most likely.
They don't need 50-year-old me with my shaky hands trying to draw Spider-Man doing climbing up a wall.
Okay, so shall we trudge on to the back half of the previews?
Yes, I will have to admit, relatively speaking, considering it's about 400 pages, I don't have that much
Yeah.
to talk about.
All
So
right.
I will let you lead the way. What's the first page that interests you?
252. This is Motor Girl, Terry Moore's new series.
Oh, yes.
And so I didn't get to talk about it last month when it was solicited for issue number one, but here it is, issue number two. It's Terry Moore, folks. Just get it. That's all I can say. It's going to be great. I don't even care what it's about. Um, but it's got a talking gorilla, aliens, and a character who looks like she works in a junkyard and is repairing alien spacecraft. So I don't know what else you need, what excuses you need besides that to buy this wonderful, I'm sure, wonderful title.
As a as an indication to your listeners, I don't know if anybody reads your tweets or follows you on Facebook, but I think I directed a message to you that I am finally reading Rachel Rising,
Yeah.
one of your favorite titles,
Hmm.
and I bought the omnibus, and it's by Terry Moore. I was able to read half of it in a sitting, and I didn't want to stop. The problem is I haven't had a chance to continue yet. But
Oh.
that whole time I was reading it, I was thinking about you because of how you have uh, the laurels you have bestowed upon this book on your show, and you're not wrong. Trust me, they're all well earned. And I don't understand how you and everybody else read this month to month because it's killing me, this gap between when I stopped reading it and when I will finally pick it up again. It's killing me. I,
Yeah.
I, I want I want to just jump right back in. But to have waited for each chapter month by month by month, oh boy, I would have been going nuts. What a great book.
It is. And just his art, maybe it's just me, but his art is just so beautiful.
Hmm.
The guy can draw weather like nobody. And that's
Yeah.
just the weather in the book. Imagine what he does
Hmm.
with the characters.
Right, exactly. Man. Yeah, so had I not read Rachel, had I not been reading Rachel Rising again upon your recommendation, I wouldn't even consider Motor Girl, but now it's on my list.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, another example of following a creator.
Okay, so have you read Strangers in Paradise or Echo?
No, I have not. I'm
Okay,
aware of it, but I have never read it.
George,
And
you got it. You got to get those two.
I, I've got to dive in. I know. I have cousins that I never knew read comics, and they said when they were in college, they read Strangers in Paradise, the only
Ah.
comics they ever read in their lives. And they said, "How could you, of all people, have never read Strangers in Paradise?" Because in the family, everybody has their reputation, and I'm the comic book guy.
Right.
So how I have not read Strangers in Paradise, they consider me a fraud now. So I'll have to remedy that situation too.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I will warn you. The first part of Strangers in Paradise is kind of rough to get into
Uh-huh.
because I don't think that Mr. Moore had clearly defined for himself what he wanted to do with those
Hmm.
characters in that story. But man, once you get through through the first few essentially the first few chapters of
Uh-huh.
that book, man, you just get sucked in and you
Really?
you care so much about these characters, even the ones that you start off hating.
Really?
You end up
Okay.
just feeling for these characters. So
And I
it's an
don't doubt
amazing work.
from what the half of Rachel Rising that I've read, I don't doubt what you just said.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you normally dig into the back of the book? I mean, do you normally take a chance on some things you see in the back of the book?
That's usually where I find something new and interesting is in the
Uh-huh.
back of the book.
Yeah, some hidden. If you talk about hidden gems, they
Yeah,
are here in this
yeah,
section of the book.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
and I'm not
sometimes,
even talking about like going to Dynamite or Oni or Boom. I'm talking about the publisher that only has maybe two titles that
yeah.
they're wedged in between things that you would recognize.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah, I admit that I don't necessarily think that there's anything this month, but yeah, in years past, or months past, I've found some really cool things. Here's one potential one. I honestly don't know that I'll get this, George, but we were talking about cartoon properties before.
Yes.
Here is from American Mythology. This is on page 266 of the book. The Pink Panther
Ah,
Cartoon Hour Special.
I do have that bookmarked.
Oh yeah?
I'm not, yeah, just like you, I'm not quite sure I'm going to pick it up, but I did buy the first couple of issues of Pink Panther, and I did enjoy them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, I'll admit I don't remember everybody that's in this picture.
I don't either.
I don't need, they must have appeared like they might have been the third cartoon out of the three cartoons in a half hour Pink Panther show.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I just tuned them out. I don't really remember them that much. Ant and the Aardvark, I remember them.
Yes, yes.
But some of these other guys, I don't, I don't know where they came from.
Yeah, they mentioned specifically in the text the Texas Toads, Mr. John Catfish. I
Hmm.
I don't remember those at all, but the inspector here, and you know,
Yeah.
like you said, our Ant and Aardvark. I love that stuff. I love Pink Panther.
Yeah.
I need to go. I need to go find some place that has Pink Panther cartoons and watch them again.
I got when they started the Pink Panther comic, they also solicited a Pink Panther T-shirt, and it was Pink Panther as Thor, and it said the Mighty Pan Thor.
Oh right, I remember that now. Yeah.
So I picked that up.
Oh,
I had to pick
dang
that
it.
up.
Now I wish I had done that too. That sounds cool.
Hey, you want to talk about properties real quick? I may be skipping ahead here on you, but on page 294, I just want to mention, and this is a shameless plug for somebody who's been on my show. Greg Schiegel did the cover art and some of the writing and art in SpongeBob Comics number 63, solicited in this book. So I would, if anybody's a SpongeBob fan, Greg uh, worked for Nickelodeon, and he did artwork not for the cartoon but for merchandising things like Valentine's Day cards and advertising sheets that had SpongeBob on it. So he is one of the better people to be drawing this property.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
was George? What was Greg's uh, creator-owned work that he put out?
It was called Pix
Picks.
One
Yes.
Weirdest Weekend, and he
Yes.
is working on volume two.
Yes. So you
Hmm.
you asked me before, do I find hidden gems in the back of the book? That was
Uh,
one of them,
oh,
specifically.
great. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad you felt that way because I did too. Not because he was on my show, but I read it and I loved it. It's unfortunate sometimes these creator-owned properties have that big gap between one issue and another, just because they have to pay the bills with the other day job that they have, and these are those passion projects that
Yep.
take a little while, but they're worth the wait.
Yeah. I'll definitely be getting the second volume of Picks because that I love the heck out of that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump back
please
because
do.
this historical character is one of my favorites, I guess you could say. And there's been a resurgence of interest in this historical character. Um, who's doing this book? Antarctic Press. Yeah, Antarctic
Okay.
Press.
Ah,
Alexander Hamilton.
yes.
His name was Alexander Hamilton.
I'm not
Anyway,
even going to try.
yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. George, I don't know if you had the displeasure of listening to one of my Christmas time Gutters episodes, but I did the 12 uh, Days of Christmas comic book version, and
Yes.
and
Hmm.
tried to, big air quotes here,
Uh-huh.
sing it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got some uh, rare negative
Feedback.
feedback about that episode. So yeah, I try to not sing on mic. So anyway, but here's this. Alexander Hamilton, the Hamilton musical, is huge right now. I can't wait to see that.
Yes.
And here's this comic book about Alexander Hamilton. I'm really tempted to get this book.
I know, right? I felt the same way as you did. I had gotten Connie tickets for Hamilton, so we will be going in a couple of
What?
months. I got it for her birthday.
Oh
Yes,
my gosh, you are
yes. So
so lucky.
we will be going. Of course, it's a different cast than
Right?
the original cast, but that's okay.
Whatever.
That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
George,
So
I
we'll
am
we'll we'll
so
be going.
jealous.
Well, I am on the East Coast, so it is a little easier for me to get up there than you. So
See,
it
I'm
is
gonna have,
understandable.
yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for it to go. What do they call it?
The road company, the
Yeah,
traveling company,
traveling
yeah,
Broadway or
uh,
whatever it is that they
yeah,
call it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for that to finally come to the west side of the states to see that. But I'm so, I so want to see that show.
yeah. I mean, I can't wait. When I wasn't even aware that it existed until the Grammy Awards
Oh,
this year.
really?
Yeah, and they just I guess I just wasn't paying attention. But when they were up for an award for whatever they call the musical score for a Broadway play or whatever it is, Grammys. I'm not talking the Tonys. I'm talking the
Hmm.
Grammys.
Hmm.
And the cast, they were on stage at the theater, and they were doing the opening number, and it was film, and they were doing it live for the Grammys. When I saw that, I immediately tweeted, well, it looks like I have to go see Hamilton now because just that opening number, it got me. Yeah, they hooked me right there, and and then I realized what the phenomenon was at that point. I didn't know what it was at the time,
Mm.
so I only discovered them in February or whenever the Grammys were on, and they've had me hooked ever since.
Ah,
Yeah,
well, again, you'll have to let me know what you think of the show.
yeah, I definitely will. Yeah, I got it for Connie's birthday. Of course, I'm not seeing it till 2018, but no, I'm just kidding.
So, if you think about it, Hamilton, and this next thing I want to ask you about, so you can either be Team Hamilton or Team Burr, right?
Oh, okay.
Uh, Similarly, George, are you
Yes.
Team Betty or Team Veronica?
Wow, that is a good question, and I am Team Betty.
Yes, me too.
Yes, I'm
So
Team Betty.
yeah, so they have here. This is what page 275. They've got these
Yeah.
Team Betty and Veronica T-shirts and lanyards that you can get, and it says, "Ripped from the pages of Betty and Veronica. Whose side are you on?"
And that Adam Hughes art that
Adam Hughes
accompanies
art.
it, though,
Yeah,
great stuff.
I've always been Team Betty.
Me too.
I've never cared for Veronica.
Yeah, in fact, when I was a kid, I remember buying Betty and Me, the comic book, and always liking Betty's appearances more than Veronica's.
Uh huh.
I married a blonde. I don't think the two are related in any way, but you never know.
Yeah. Back to holiday themed stuff, George. There's
Mm,
on 297. There's Claus and the Witch of Winter. Looks like it's a one shot.
yes.
So Grant Morrison did his Claus series, which I'm waiting for the trade to come out so I can get that.
I think you will enjoy it. It was
Yeah,
weird reading it in, some issues in the summertime.
yeah,
Yeah.
can imagine. But this one will be out, I believe, in time for Christmas. It doesn't say. It's not anyway. So, but yeah, it's a one shot, 40 pages of a new story. Grant Morrison writing, like I said, illustrated by Dan Mora. Was Dan Mora the artist on that other series?
I believe he was. Yes, I believe he was. Don't quote me on it, but I believe he was.
Yeah. So I think I might get this as an introduction to Grant
Yeah,
Morrison's Claws stuff, and then like when that trade comes out, I'll get that too.
that was a good one. I think you'll enjoy that. Do you read Giant Days?
I have the first trade.
Okay, because
So
Volume 4 is coming out. It's
yeah,
solicited in December. Yeah.
I so I was doing because DCBS gives you, like I said, 40-50% off on especially like number one trades, right?
Yeah.
And so I was for several series, Deadly Class, Manifest Destiny.
Mm.
Uh, there's one more that I'm forgetting the title of, but I was just Southern Bastards.
Mm.
I was just buying the trades, and I hadn't even read much of it. Like I think I've read a few of the Deadly Class trades, but I have like five. I've only read two or three of them. So I was buying all these trades because they were coming out and they were cheap,
Right.
but all I'm doing is filling up my shelves, and I don't even know if I really like the series so much. I'm just getting them
Yeah.
because I started to get it. And so I
Hmm.
decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. Catch up on my reading
Yes.
and then go back and get the other trades that have come
Right.
out
See
since
what
then.
you really like.
Yeah. But Giant
Yeah.
Days is one of those where all I've heard is how good it is. And I
Hmm.
was interested in the monthly series when it was solicited way back when. And so I
Yeah.
got the first trade, but again, like I said, I have not read it yet. I'm really looking forward to reading it. And now they're up to 4, so I don't know.
I like I as a slice of life book, it's very interesting and I enjoy it. I'm buying it in the trade format. I'm not buying the single issues, although I like the way the covers are designed, almost the way the Sex Criminal covers were designed, and like East of West or Paper Girls or Saga. Like you can tell by the way the cover is designed that this is Giant Days or this is Paper Girls, or you can come up with a bunch of different titles where it's that cover design defines the book. And I do like what they do for Giant Days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, it's coming out in February.
oh,
It's
okay.
advanced solicited. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of getting a book because I've already gotten one, um,
Uh-huh.
I got uh, Adam and Comfort's The Uniques Volume One not too long ago, and
Oh.
so this is so Comfort Love and Adam Withers, those two collaborators. They came out with I think it's their superhero universe line, and so now they have the second volume hardcover. Curiously enough, because the first one was a trade. I don't know that they came out with a hardcover for the first volume, but here's the trade of the second one. So because
Huh.
I got that the first trade, I'm really curious to get the second one. I might get that one over some of these other more established series
Mm-hmm.
because these are not individual issues. They are they're original um, graphic novels, if you will. Uh,
Right, right.
and
Huh.
I don't want to wait that long to get the second one, but we'll see. We shall see.
There is a book on page 315 that
Okay.
I have to admit it's just a fun concept, and I am a little curious as to how it's going to go. I mean, it's on issue number 3 and it's called Die Kitty Die. Dan Parent from Archie fame before all the rebooting at Archie had taken place. He's part of this.
Okay.
And I mean, the whole concept of uh, a comic book star who's also a real life witch uh, being threatened to be killed by her publishers to get a little reality into the book with when you kill a character, the sales go up apparently. Uh, just a little curious. I haven't been buying it, not interested in buying it, but you know something, if it's ever collected, I might give it a shot.
Well, now that you've talked about it and I'm reading this solicitation text, I want to get that trade because it seems like a real fun meta
It
book
does,
about
doesn't it?
comic books.
Yeah, and when number one came out, I was thinking to myself, ah, but it just got cut off the list when I put my poll list in. But as each issue comes out and I see the covers, I get more and more intrigued.
It's curious. I see here, George, that so they have the two different covers. You mentioned the parent cover. Dan Parent's cover is $1 more than the other cover.
Yeah, well, I have seen that sometimes certain variant covers carry a heftier price than what would be considered the normal. And I guess maybe that's how Chapter House makes some money. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because no offense to Fernando Ruiz, but I'd prefer to get the parent cover, but I don't know that I want to pay $5 for it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
No offense to either person.
Right.
Hey, so you talked about the Batman 66 stuff earlier with DC.
Yeah.
And did you notice, George, that Dynamite is coming out with a Dynamite and DC? So DC's collaborating with a lot of different publishers. Well, a couple. Uh, Wonder Woman 77 meets the Bionic Woman
Yes. And if anybody
miniseries.
listens to my show, which if you do, thank you. And if you don't, I don't blame you, but please give it a try. Tony my co-host, is a big Linda Carter fan,
Yes, that's right.
and I've bought him a few things over time with the Linda comics now have that the Wonder Woman 77 books by
Hmm.
DC. The covers have that uh, whether they're painted or a drawing that looks like Linda Carter.
Hmm.
So I bought him a few of those, but then when I saw this, Wonder Woman and the Bionic Woman, another favorite property of his,
Yeah.
I sent him a text with a photo of this Alex Ross cover right away. And I said, okay, look, I know you never read anything I buy you, but I think you're going to want this.
Yeah. That is a
I'm looking
great.
at this cover. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. The Cat Stag's main cover is also really good.
It is. It is. You're not kidding.
And there's I guess you can color edition, Judith Tandora. Yeah,
Yeah,
coloring book variant. That's what they call it. But yeah, that Alex Ross, that's amazing.
it is.
How he does likenesses is just amazing.
And this is a definite on my list.
Oh
I am
yeah.
getting this. Yeah, I mean, even if Tony doesn't read it, I don't care. I'm getting this. I'm reading this. Yeah,
So you're going to get the six individual issues and not wait for the trade.
I believe so. Yeah. Under normal circumstances, I do prefer to buy things in a single way. Uh, Although, much to the chagrin of my wife Connie and my benevolent overlord Bianca, because they do take up space.
Uh huh.
One single issue in and of itself isn't so bad. You multiply that by a couple of thousand,
Yeah. Yeah.
you take up some space. But these I would want, I think, individual.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Although, something you have a good point, Eric. A collected edition of this, especially a nice hardcover, would probably look really good on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I might I might have to have both.
I was just gonna say you could always get both.
That's right. I would hope a collected edition had some sort of extra content in it though to
Hmm.
merit making the purchase.
Well, at least, hopefully, at least all those covers, those variant covers.
Oh yeah, right there. That'd be worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So I was
No, no,
Go ahead.
no. You first. It's your show.
Uh, so I was imploring you to read more Terry Moore, Strangers in Paradise and Echo, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Here's another book that I'm going to highly recommend to you if you
Okay.
like Terry Moore's work.
Okay.
And you mentioned how Giant Days was a kind of a slice of life book.
Yes. Hmm.
Uh, so here on page 346
Okay.
is Craig Thompson's Blankets.
Ooh, I've heard about blankets. I
Okay,
have never read it though.
okay, highly recommended. This is, it's almost 600 pages. You can get it in softcover or hardcover. This is drawn one of Drawn and Quarterly's perennial editions. That they always have this
Hmm.
in previews. You can get it in bookstores. It's a great coming of age story, uh, beautifully done by Craig Thompson. So I recommend that highly.
Okay, I just marked it off in the book.
And I got it as a Christmas gift from one of my family members.
Oh, really?
And so I know it's a great Christmas gift or
Okay.
birthday or anniversary or whatever.
Hint, hint.
So
Really quick, I know we came out of the Dynamite section, but I do want to say I am enjoying the James Bond books by Dynamite.
oh,
I'm not gonna, I won't dwell on it, but I am enjoying those.
I'm so waiting for the first trade for
Uh-huh.
that Warren Ellis story that he did.
I think you'll enjoy it. If you mean the first
Yeah, the first
story
arc.
arc that he had.
Yeah, because I
Okay,
know
yeah,
because
I
aren't
think
they
you'll enjoy
aren't
it.
they finishing up the second arc?
They are, and there's going to be a mini series running at the same time also.
Right. Yes. And
Yeah.
I know that
Uh-huh.
they've solicited the hardcover for that first arc.
Mm.
I'm just waiting
Hmm.
for the trade. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should just got the hardcover, but I really want to read that too.
I think you'll enjoy it. And while I didn't purchase it, I do have to admit I'm curious about Dynamite's uh, Kiss comics by Amy Chu. I almost pulled the trigger on it when I saw number one solicited. I
Uh-huh.
used to buy Kiss properties back, in the day when I was younger. Uh, but the only thing that was selling me on it was Amy Chu. but I have to admit I didn't pull the trigger on it. So I'm very curious to see once it actually comes out to hear what people say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend, Greg, who's been on the show a few times. He's a huge Kiss fan, and I know he used to get some of the Kiss comics that were done back in the day. So
Hmm.
I might be getting, if hopefully he's not going to be listening to this episode, but I might be getting, if they collect this stuff, the new Kiss stuff, I might be getting that for him at some point.
And before we move forward, like you were just recommending blankets as we approach our fifth hour of broadcasting here. But while you were recommending blankets on page 346, if nobody has ever read, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, but Adrian Tomine, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but on page 347, also from Drawn and Quarterly, there are a couple of books by him. The only one I have read is Scenes from an Impending Marriage.
Okay.
And if that's any indication of how his work is and his sense of humor, uh, while I can highly recommend Scenes from an Impending Marriage, I would guess his other work is just as impressive. I'm looking at his New York postcards. Uh, I'm really in no position to buy, spend $15 on some postcards, although I like sending postcards. Uh, his artwork there looks like a lot of fun, but for anybody out there willing to try something new, at least Scenes from an Impending Marriage. That was a lot of fun.
Okay, so dang it, George. Now you're just making me want to spend more and more. Because I totally passed over those, but now you've pointed them out and I'm reading what they're about.
Touche, pussycat.
I really want to get these, especially the look of the New York postcards one.
Yeah, don't doesn't that one in the solicit
Yeah,
look like something you'd even want to frame,
yeah,
or you'd want to get in the mail, right? If
exactly.
somebody sent you a postcard just for the heck of it, say, "Hey, I'm just saying hi. I thought you'd like this picture." Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
cool?
yeah.
Yeah. Not enough people do that these days.
Oh man, my wife is not going to like the bill when it comes to
Right.
this
You
month's
could blame it on
previews.
episode 10. What is this? 106?
Yeah.
Blame it on episode 106.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, since we're in this section of the book, I don't know if you had anything from Hermes Press, but on page 364, Scratch Nine, Cat of Nine Worlds, being that our benevolent overlord Bianca is a cat. Things like this at least get my attention. Whether or not I purchased them is another story, but I could swear there was a Scratch Nine free comic on a free comic book day a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And if I recall correctly, I enjoyed it. And basically, it's a cat that is able to summon up any of its nine lives to get out of whatever situation that it has that it finds itself in. And if I recall correctly, I enjoyed Scratch Nine. Always wanted to pick up individual issues, but never saw them. So I, never did. But
Oh, see,
that might be something I would consider if my bill isn't that high.
yeah, it says in the great traditions of Mighty Mouse, Underdog, and the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Oh,
Yeah, there you
oh,
go.
dang it.
So, sorry, Mrs. Eric.
Oh boy. Okay. On 424,
Oh
again
wait,
talking
all the
about,
way on 424.
yeah.
All right, then Oni Press. Can I just tell you
Oh,
something
yep,
from Oni
yep.
Press?
Go ahead.
I am reading Jeff Steinberg, Champion of Earth. I don't know if you're bothering with that, but I am enjoying that. That's a lot of fun. It's very subversive. It was surprising how much I enjoyed it. So
What page is that
number
on?
five is yeah, number five is coming out. It's on page 387.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, and the last comic that I'll mention, since you're in the 400s already, on page 389. I guess it's from Paper Cuts. Yeah, Paper Cuts. It's another Disney property thing. Sorry, Eric, but it's Disney Great Parodies Volume One, Mickey's Inferno.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Mickey. Yeah, I think they're doing something. Maybe a portion of this for the comics that they're going to put out for the Halloween Fest at local comic book shops.
Hmm.
But I think this is the full graphic novel of it. So, gotta admit, a little intrigued. I don't know if it's going to make the final cut, but the fact that they're putting stuff like this out just caught my attention.
Mm-hmm. So this is, it says, Imagine, if you will, a satirical retelling of Dante Alighieri's Inferno starring Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, very strange.
That's just a different
You wouldn't
kind
put the
of,
two together, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of Dante's Inferno, so very again just caught my attention.
It's also interesting too, considering that Disney owns Marvel and some of the properties that Disney owns is being put out in comic book form at Marvel, but a lot of the Disney characters,
Yes,
cartoon characters, are not. I find that really
right.
curious.
I, I I am still amazed that IDW has whatever arrangement they have to put out those Mickey Mouse, Donald
Yeah,
Duck books that we were talking about earlier in the show. Yeah,
and then you get something like this, which
right.
may not fit the IDW line, but
Yeah, and I think some other company has the Cinestory books that they put out based on the movies. I don't know if that's Joe Books or I
oh,
think
okay.
there is another company out there that does books like that.
Maybe it
Y-
makes a lot of sense business wise to diversify that way,
I- exactly. They make money that way.
reach
Everything is
different avenues.
exactly. They all have their own separate buckets out there. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were in the 600s. What were you looking at?
Not quite that high, but on 424 to 425, there's a bunch of things I want to mention.
Oh, cool. Great.
From 215 Inc., Dr. Crow. This is
Oh, yes.
a new series, I guess. Um, I was intrigued by by what I saw for the cover, but then I read the text. It's unrelenting otherworldly terrors lay hidden in shadows of our world, but one man dares to stand in their way in the name of science. Follow the harrowing adventures of Dr. Victor Crow, an adventuring scientist. And who wouldn't want to be an adventuring scientist?
I know, right?
Expert on the occult and all-around pulp hero as he travels the globe using advanced technologies to battle gruesome supernatural horrors. That just sounds like fun.
It, I, I'm sorry, Eric, if I'm misspeaking here, but I thought your day job was an adventuring scientist. Am I wrong about that? I thought that's what I saw
No,
online.
that's
No,
my
huh?
secret identity.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to out you that way. Sorry. You can
Uh,
edit that out.
Also on that page, and of course on the next page, a bunch of stuff from Tomorrow's Publishing.
Love them.
Back issue 94 is spotlighting indie superheroes such as Ms. Mystic, Neil Adams' Ms. Mystic, Captain Paragon, the Justice Machine History, Thunder Agents. So, and with a really cool looking Ms. Mystic cover by Neil Adams.
I remember buying Ms. Mystic, but I couldn't tell you anything about that book. It might be time to revisit some of those types of books, those short-lived indie books like that. Well, I guess that's what Back Issue is all about. Buy issue number 94, right?
Uh, I also want to mention because you talked to Mr. Corey, George Corey's Comic Book Fever
Oh, what
book.
a great book. Oh, man. I mean, I was talking about what a curmudgeon I am and what I prefer when it comes to my artwork.
Yeah,
Man, George's book just brings it all home for me.
yeah, yeah. I actually just started reading that recently, George, and I almost couldn't. I almost stayed up way too late last night reading a bunch of stuff on it. But like I said, basically just came out recently. But
Yeah.
you can order it here and get a copy for yourself, especially if you are interested in the decade of 1976 to 1986,
Yep.
that age of comics, what he calls his personal golden age of comics. And I have to admit, I kind of consider that my golden age as well.
I think a
Uh,
lot of us do. I think that's
yeah.
what's kept us in the hobby, just because that those 10 years were really that good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, get one for yourself, get one for your friends, your family, because I think it's a really good book. And I
If
and
for
I
no
had
other reason, the history of Underoos. If no other reason, George gives us the hidden story behind Underoos.
you
Come on,
know
folks.
you know Underoos was something that came out just as I was too old for something like that.
I agree with you, but the fact that we know they exist,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I ever had any of them, but I I think I wanted them. Of course, I was 20 at the time, and they just never had my size. But I digress.
Mm. You had asked me if I was wanting the Daredevil John Romita or John Romita,
Oh yes.
one of those John Romita artist editions.
Hmm.
Um, and so that prompted me to take a look at this. So there's a book that Two Mars is doing, John Romita and all that jazz.
Ah yes.
Spotlighting John Romita, and
Yeah.
who wouldn't want that? And then I didn't realize this before, George, but I just noticed this as we were talking.
Uh-oh.
The draw issue number 32 features not only Howard Porter but Jamal Igle
Mm.
and his process. He's the guy that does, among other things, Molly Danger. He had a long
Yes.
stint on Supergirl a few years back. He's now doing the series that just came out, Black,
Hmm.
which I need to find because I forgot to order that, and they're
Oh,
already up to issue number 4 in previews. So I'm gonna have to seek that out. But I might have to get Draw magazine just for Jamal Igle's contribution in that particular issue.
that does look like a good issue. I love Tomorrow's books.
I love them too much is the problem.
Yeah, and they really do cater to us, don't they?
Yeah. Well, did you get their? Where is it? Uh, is it the Comic Book Chronicles that they put out?
No, no.
There's I see it, but I can't read. I can't read the title and the spine from where I'm sitting here.
Hmm.
American. I think it's American Comic Book Chronicles. Yes, and I got the 1980s edition, which complements what George did with his book. So I started reading the Tomorrow's book. I'm going to read George's, of course. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that decade of comics
Yeah.
from
Now
the
that you
perspective of those authors.
now that you mention it, I think I remember seeing those books solicited. They go decade. Each book is a different decade, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. Yeah, I love those books. You know what? I have to ask. While I didn't have anything from Action Lab or Aftershock on my current list here, uh, I do have to mention two books that I really love from each of those companies. One is Rough Riders. Have you read Rough Riders?
No,
The-
but
the-
I actually had that listed here, but I've been trying to cut down on some of the things I was going to mention just because we're running long.
sure.
But wasn't there a trade? The first
Uh,
volume of that's coming out, right?
yeah. I've been enjoying that as an alternate history book, and
Yeah.
another alternate history book I enjoy is Harold Lovecraft Tesla
Ah,
from Action Lab.
Action Lab. Yeah.
So I
Well,
didn't realize how much I like alternate history books until I read those too. So that's
yeah.
I recommend those also.
Okay, because I've been eyeing both of those actually.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna have to put Rough Riders on my list and see where it comes out.
They're great
But yeah,
stuff.
I mean, the art looks the cover art that I saw looks really good. Is that the same art that's inside the book?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
it's same artist inside.
well then that's going to be a tough
Yeah.
choice to make.
On both titles, the interior artist does the covers.
Uh,
As we're
I
thumbing through the book, do you buy Valiant books?
I have not
Me neither.
recently.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
stopped getting, what was it? Ivor Time Walker. That was the last one I got,
mm,
and before that, Archer and Armstrong. But I haven't got the more recent series that they've been putting out.
yeah, I got the Faith trade paperback from her miniseries, but I haven't picked up any of the the new ongoing stuff.
I actually ended up getting DCB Service sometimes will throw in extra books,
Yes.
and they had the Faith. It was like the second printing
Uh-huh.
uh, that book, and so I read that and
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. Actually,
Yeah.
I wasn't because I had read that character in, was it
Harbinger.
Harbinger? Yes.
Yes.
And I like the character, but it wasn't something that I felt I needed to read as in her own series, and
Hmm.
I think I'm wrong about that now because I really enjoyed that first issue
Yeah.
that I read. So
Huh.
I may have to pick up the trade on that one too.
Another one goes on the B
Oh my
list, right?
gosh, yeah. I wanted to mention here because I have not been mentioning enough kids books.
Ooh.
465, they've got, and I say this because my granddaughter Madison enjoys these things, and so I can't say this too loudly, but I'm gonna get them for her for Christmas.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
the DC Superhero Girls Batgirl at Superhero High is a $14 6x9 hardcover,
Mm.
and there is the Secret Hero Society Book 2 Fort Solitude, and this is a $13 hardcover book, and this features the characters of Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, and I believe Diana as kids at an academy,
Right. Yeah.
and so they have these little adventures together, and it's drawn by Dustin Nguyen, so it looks really cool.
Yeah.
So those I'm definitely getting at some point for my granddaughter, of course.
Of course. Of course. Those look like fun.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear the word society, though, in a DC book, I always think Justice Society.
Yep.
Are you bothering with the Earth 2 books or no?
No, not since they relaunched it.
Yeah, me
Uh,
neither. Me
I,
neither.
I didn't
I
care for it.
Yeah, I kind of share that sentiment. I don't know how well that book sells or anything.
Well, it must be selling well enough because it's still going on and not part of DC Rebirth. They haven't started it
Actually,
again.
yeah, you're right. What was it? Number 19, I think, was
Yeah.
solicited in this one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand though. Well, I don't know this for sure. I thought I had read somewhere that it was coming to an end soonish, but I don't
Mm,
know exactly what that means.
right. Yeah. Those are good recommendations on the kids' books, though.
George, that's it for books. I have a few more things that are not books that are in the last part of the previews
Please
catalog.
share, Eric. Let me
Are,
know how else I can be separated from my money.
George, are you a chess fan? Do you play chess? Do you like
No,
chess?
I have to admit I do not know how to play chess.
Ah.
Ah,
Well, if you did,
uh-huh.
you
So what I would.
could you could depart with a few dollars
Uh-huh.
if you wanted to get the DC Chess Collection complete set. This is on
Mm,
page 515.
okay.
This is the complete set 2, apparently. Somehow I missed the first complete set. $495.
Sign me up.
If I had an extra 500 bucks, George, if I win the lottery or something,
Uh,
I would totally get this.
it's beautiful. In fact, when they sell the individual pieces,
Uh-huh.
I do take note of those pieces because they're very
Oh
well
yeah.
crafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got the major Justice League characters, and then they've got Supergirl, Firestorm, Shazam. Who's the is that Dr. Fate? No, that's Booster Gold. Green Arrow, Hawkman, Power Girl, but in that awful um, original New 52 costume
Right, right.
instead of what she ended up with, and I think it looks like Zatanna.
Yeah,
And of course the other side are the villains. So yeah, that just looks like fun.
it does.
And then a few pages later, 521. I'm not big on getting statues, George, but every
Hmm.
once in a while I see a statue and I'm like, oh, that just looks really cool. And this is one of
Right.
those. This is Fantasy Figure Gallery DC Comics. There's a lot of colons in these titles. DC Comics Collection
They
Batgirl
love
1/6 scale resin statue.
they love punctuation.
Oh my gosh. Uh, but this just looks really cool. It's a
It
different take on the Batgirl costume. Just looks really cool, but it's 250
I know.
bucks.
I'm like you. I love looking at these statues and stuff, but there's no way any of them are coming in this house.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll spend 50 bucks on a statue at
Yeah.
best, but not
Hmm.
not 250. But oh wait, Well, I wrote down the wrong page here. Hold on. There's one more statue.
Oh, I can't wait.
Where is it? Oh gosh, I've lost the page. I wrote the wrong page number down on my cheat sheet here. So I'm flipping through real quick. Where is it? It's the I can't find it, but it's the Jim Lee Batman and Robin Artifacts statue.
Oh, yes, I do remember seeing that in the book.
Where is that? What
Wow,
page?
that was.
That looks gorgeous. Boy, I'm sucking on this thing. Anyway, that I will seriously consider that, but it's $100.
Yeah,
So
right.
I said 50, but I might get that because I love the look of that statue.
Well, you can leave that page in strategic spots around the house. And again, your birthday isn't at the end of December also, so there are two holidays there.
Yeah.
Your birthday and Christmas. So,
Well, unfortunately, my wife and I have made a pact. So
mhm.
we just we took a family vacation just recently, and we came back from that. And so the next one that we're going to do is the one I really want to do, and that's go to Europe for a month.
A month.
Yes.
Wow.
So we have a lot of saving to do to
Sure.
prepare for that. And so we're
So you're not
talking,
ordering anything out of this catalog.
well, see, yeah, that's one of the things we talked about just last night was because
Wow.
we went over our plan, how soon we can do this trip,
Right.
and it's at least 3 years, if not four, to save up enough money to do it.
What is the plan for accommodations for a month-long stay in Europe, though?
Well, yeah, we're still
Is it you
determining
rent a
that.
house or something, a week at a time, a week here, a week there?
Something like that. Yeah,
Uh,
we haven't fully even determined what it is we want to do exactly.
right.
So that will of course play into that.
Sure. A
But
month.
but
Wow.
yeah, to prepare for that, we've decided that we're not going to buy each other Christmas gifts
Okay, smart, smart.
or birthday gifts.
Right. And
We're
they
not
all
going to.
come out of the same fund anyway when you're married and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So, right, unless you're a billionaire and you all have your own separate accounts, right? So, if you buy a gift for somebody, it's out of the mortgage fund. So that's what
hmm
happens.
hmm
Yep. That's
So
understandable.
yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
what a
So
goal. That's a good goal.
things like the Jim Lee Batman and Robin artifact statue,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
probably pass on it, but man, that looks really cool.
Is there a sibling you could solicit?
No, no, no.
An in-law?
Oh, here it is. I found it. It's on page.
It-
It's on one of the pages. It's 556, but it's on 570. Oh, I guess that's what I wrote down. I just didn't realize it. Yeah, 570 is the page. That just looks awesome. And it's not too often you get statues with Robin in
right.
them,
Yeah.
so that appeals to me greatly.
I have to admit, I also like the Spider Gwen on the next
Yeah,
page.
yeah. Well, and
The
they also have
artifact statue.
they have a Green Lantern as
Oh
well.
man.
So yeah,
Yeah.
too many nice things, too many shiny
Yes.
things
Pretty
to
much.
want to get. But
Well,
George, that's
folks,
it.
folks, don't forget that Eric has a donate GoFundMe page. He has a Kickstarter. Uh, he has a post office box that he can accept gifts at all times. Right, 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 Eric?
I cannot confirm nor deny those allegations, George.
The only thing I had earmarked here, which I don't need any other mugs in my house,
Hmm.
but I like to see the Doctor Who mug on
Oh,
609.
yeah, I saw that
Uh,
too.
there is a, selfie. Well, there are two actually on the page, but the one that I like is a drawing that I think made a variant cover for one of the Titan Doctor Who comics, where the 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors are taking are posing for a selfie.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I almost got a T-shirt version of that particular image, and I opted not to. But seeing it on a mug looks like a lot of fun. But when you have 100 mugs in your cabinet, you don't need another one.
Well, and the mug next to that one with the doctors doing their catchphrase.
Yes.
I saw that as a shirt as well, and then I noticed
Yeah.
that they have it as the mug too. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Just to
So
know they exist, right?
so are you I take it you're a Doctor Who fan?
Yes, waiting very patiently for the Christmas special this year, and
Oh, me too.
hopefully whatever kicks off in 2017. It's been a pretty dry year.
So who's your favorite of the new doctors, the newer doctors?
Wow, I would have to say David Tennant, number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Although
he
I shouldn't say that because I'm a little jealous because my wife likes him a little too much, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So I guess I shouldn't like him as much as I do, but I do.
sounds like how my wife is about Bon Jovi.
There you go.
In fact, she has. I bought her a special photograph. I don't know why I say special. I bought her. You could buy photographs from the Bon Jovi website from not his last tour, but I think the tour before that. And I bought her one, gave it to her in a frame, and she has that at her desk at work.
Uh-huh.
And she told me today, in fact, today, she said that someone came up to her and said, "Why do you have a picture of Bon Jovi on your desk, but not of your husband?" And I
Ah.
said, "Right?"
Yeah, hey, very telling.
She probably wouldn't.
Curious and curiouser.
She probably wouldn't appreciate me telling that story, but
Yeah. Well, tell her she's not alone because I haven't made the desk, but David Tennant has. So,
well, there you go.
hmm hmm
There you go.
So she's in good company. It's just, different people have made the desk instead of their spouses.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a picture of my wife on my desk, but all right. I had a couple of other action figures and Fred Hembeck pictures and stuff like that. So, but at least she was on the desk.
That's
She
right.
was there
Yeah.
next to Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu.
hmm
But, you know, that part doesn't matter so much.
Well, and I have two photos of my wife in group shots. I'll admit,
Hmm.
but I have two of them on my desk at work. So I don't know what her problem is. Well, wait,
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know what her problem is with me.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, we'll have to do an Eric on the couch, I think, for that one.
Yeah, well, you come on my show and we will sort all this out.
uh, so just to let people know that's a reference to I don't know if you call it a segment or what on George and Tony's show, but Tony on the couch, I think is that how you refer to it?
Yeah, it's more like wishful thinking.
Yeah,
Although
right.
we did have a therapist on one time, and we plan to have another one on in December.
Yeah.
Just don't tell Tony.
I was pretty impressed with Tony with that episode with the therapist because he was I think he's getting picked on just a little bit by that therapist.
Yeah. Well, the therapist that we plan on having on in December will hopefully be a little more professional.
Okay. All right. Well, George, we've made it to the end of previews, and
Hmm.
we've talked a long time yet again. But it's
Hmm.
it's always fun. I've always enjoyed talking with you about this stuff.
I don't have too many people here in the Northern Virginia area, besides for the people who actually own the comic shop where I go, where I can talk like this. So, unfortunately, listener, I apologize for manipulating Eric into having me on for a 6-hour segment. So I have somebody to talk to about our combined passion comics.
hmm
Yeah.
And just so again, for my listeners to know, George does sometimes talk about comics on his podcast, his and Tony's podcast. You just recently did some episodes where you interviewed people at I want to say the Baltimore Comic Con. Is that right?
Yes, my local comic shop, which I keep saying, and maybe I should just give them a plug if you don't mind.
Nope, not at
They're
all.
called Comic Logic. They're here in the Northern Virginia area. If you're ever in town, check them out. But they were kind enough to allow me to set up in their booth at Baltimore Comic Con, and I worked out to have different creators come by and talk to me. I had my soundboard set up, the mics, and it was a lot of fun. We talked to a wide variety of people, and we had a good time.
hmm
Yeah.
And occasionally you'll have the people that work at Comic Logic come on and talk, which I love those
Yes.
episodes, George. I love it when comic shop workers and owners come on episodes of people's shows and talk shop. I just
Oh,
find that
great.
fascinating. So it's good stuff to listen to.
Thank you. Thank you. They're a good bunch of people over there, and you'll be hearing more of them in the future.
Excellent, excellent. So since we're talking about your show, why don't you go ahead and remind the folks out there again where, who, what, where, when, and why, and all that stuff.
Thank you. The only way you can get in touch with us is by Pony Express because I'm an old curmudgeon and I have no knowledge of social media. No, no. We are at georgeandtony.com on the we're the George and Tony page on the Realm Network site. And to get in touch with us or make any comments, we are on Facebook at George and Tony Entertainment and on Twitter at George and Tony. And of course, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and a bunch of other podcast related apps and
Mhm.
things that I know nothing about.
Yep, and like I said, I thoroughly enjoy George and Tony talk and their banter about
Thank you.
pop culture and various other topics. And of course, like I said, when George talks comics, especially when Tony's there, I love it when you talk comics when Tony's there because it's not his thing, but I
Yeah.
just love the interaction between you two. So,
Thanks, thanks. I will let him know that.
all right.
Thank you.
All right. So if people would like to, speaking of leaving feedback, if people would like to leave feedback about this episode, if there's things in the previews catalog that George and I missed, that you think that we or the other listeners of the show would like to know about, you could do so by leaving comments at longboxreview.com. You can also leave me feedback by emailing me at longboxreview@gmail.com. Or there's even Facebook, Longbox Review. No, that's not it. It's facebook.com/longboxreview. And of course, where really you can get a hold of me and interact with me really quickly and easily is on Twitter at Longbox Review. So I appreciate each and every one of you who listen to the episodes, that subscribe to the show, and please go and subscribe to George and Tony's show as well.
Thank you.
George, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure. And now it's tag I'm it to have you on my show. So, folks, keep an eye out for when Eric is on the George and Tony Entertainment Show.
Okay.
Hopefully, that'll be the next couple of weeks. We'll work that out.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.